Vast underground world, and the countless treasures that lie in store for worthy adventurers. You've signed up the best, you're on a great quest to find the mighty mother lode. There's treasure galore, but perils in store and construction that isn't up to code. Trespass with care, there's sure to be something rare. You can grab all the loot that you can handle. Such riches you'll own, but leave one thing alone.
You know take handle.
And if you steal the light, you then must take flight, eluding each hazard and each strife. It's a chaotic race as the monsters give chase, and all the while you're trying to follow the map. They're gaining on you, your options are few, and you fear that you're never gonna get home. You sought after wealth, will you lose all your health to Kobolds and Catacombs? It's Kobolds and Catacombs!
Hey, and there we go. We're all set up. We're going. I'm pretty sure.
Legends tell of a vast underground world and the countless treasures that lie in store for worthy
Hey everybody, and welcome to the stream. I am Warlock, and I'm here with Logan.
You signed up the best. You're on a great quest to find the mighty mother lode.
Yes, it's bad.
Treasure galore, but perils in store and construction that is
very
up to
fun.
code.
Very excited. So,
Trespass with care, there's sure to be something rare. You can grab all the loot that you can handle. Such riches you'll own, but leave one thing alone.
You know take handle.
And if you steal the light, you then must take flight, eluding each hazard and each strife.
we are not going to
It's a chaotic race as the monsters give chase, and all the while you're trying to follow the map. They're gaining on you, your options are few, and you fear that you're never gonna get home. You sought after wealth, will you lose all your health to Kobolds and Catacombs?
to value those cards.
It's Kobolds and Catacombs!
We're also not going to be doing a whole lot of talking about cards like we normally do, which is in relation to the meta. We've done that with the past two
Legends
expansions,
tell of a vast underground world
We've talked about
and
how
the
is
countless
this card going to
treasures
impact
that lie in
how's this
store
fit into certain decks
for
that we know about.
worthy
How can this create a deck that's
adventurers.
been on the border of existing?
You've signed up the
and
best. You're on a
these
great
cards,
quest to find
if you
the
wanna
mighty
explain why
mother
we're not
lode.
There's
Treasure galore,
the meta
but
right now is
perils
just
in store and construction that isn't up to code.
Well,
Trespass with care, there's sure to be something rare. You can grab all the loot that you can handle. Such rich.
however, most of them won't be meta-defining until the standard rotation rotates at the end of the year. So, the Hearthstone year, not our year. So, right now, I mean, it would be a little pointless for us to go through each card and say this probably won't impact the meta, because we would be saying it for a vast majority of the cards. And it won't be true once the standard rotation happens and they become meta-defining.
Right. And then so much is changing when that happens that it's not just, oh, these cards become more powerful because those cards drop out. There are two other expansions that the same thing's happening to. It's two greater breadth of cards.
Yeah. And at that time, we'll also be getting another expansion that will interact with these cards, with those cards, with each other. It's going to be very, very... It's damn near impossible.
So this is the second time that we're doing this yearly crossover as we change over through these sort of seasons in Hearthstone. And so that's what I think what we're going to see very consistently is that the last set to be released is going to maybe not be underpowered, but probably be undervalued. Or it's going to feel that way because
by the time you're finished learning the cards, the entire meta changes.
Yes.
You figure out where to put them, and the next day...
Yes. Well, and they're
now.
being added to the largest pool of cards, and lots of different elements going into. So what we're going to talk about is basically how these cards stack up based against stat distributions for base cards for the vanilla version of the game,
3, 3, 4,
and
4, 4, 5.
how they stack up versus other classes. And so we're going to talk about power creep, and we're going to talk about new functions of these cards. We're not going to be talking about Pirate Warrior. We're not going to be talking about your history deck that somehow is up
which
here.
is meta now.
But we are going to be talking about these cards. The chat is open. If you have any questions at any point, throw your questions in there, and we'll answer them as quickly and succinctly as possible, and disagree as much as possible.
We will definitely give you 2 different answers to any question you ask.
Yes, absolutely. That's our goal. I mean, no. All right, so it's already pulled up. The first card, we're starting with Druid. We're going to go through alphabetically through all of the classes, and it's just in the order of how they are put up on Hearthstone that we're going to go through these. There's not a specific order, but we are going to make sure to spend time on each legendary and weapon. And then as far as the general cards, we'll kind of go through at the end. Again, if there's some that you want us to talk about, put it in the chat. We'll make sure to add it to our list to go through. We're going to be skipping over some cards, and that's because so should you. So we're going to start with the 5/2/4 Ixalid Fungal Lord. After you play a minion, summon a copy of it. Elemental tag as well.
Yeah, elemental tag for Druid. So useful. That's sarcasm. This is not Fandral Stack Helm. This is not a tempo legendary. This is not something you play on curve. This is possibly a mid-range card. I want to say it's a control card, but I could certainly see this, especially with the way Druid ramps his mana, in a more mid-range list. However, especially if after the standard rotation, I should say this, but Druid the Claw becomes a runnable card again. Having this combined with him on 10 for 8
2, 4,
face
6
damage.
taunts.
Well, I was actually thinking 2, 4, 4
face
charges.
damage.
Could really make him, he himself, a valuable card. Barring that, it's 5/2/4. Don't play this on turn 5. Don't innervate this on turn 4. Wait to get his effect to activate, which is going to be, and not on a 1-drop or a 2-drop. Activate this on the biggest thing you can get it to activate on. That's why I would call this mostly a control card.
Yes.
Only late game, mid range, if you can manage it.
Our voices are a tad quiet.
What?
I think I can adjust that. As much as I can. This is as much as I can do, and I'll scoot the mic up a little. There's not a whole lot I can do. We're already at max volume. I can just turn up the gain a lot, which will help us clip.
Ooh,
so
helps clip. Good.
So
lean in when we talk.
What I would say is that, and we're going to spend a little more time on these legendary cards than we do the average card, but what I like about this is that they've been stacking Druid endgame crazy takeover and win, like beat out a control deck endgame by just putting so much crazy crap on the board. So when we think about cards like Barnabas make every minion in your deck really cheap, or Iviana, is she getting rotated out?
She's been out.
Okay, she's been out, but we haven't had Thaurissan, and so we're now at Druid and Rogue being pretty much the only ones that are going to get cost reduction on their cards. And so that makes this viable. Where with other cards, with other classes, I think it could very easily not be
at all playable.
Useful. There's not, Druid has the big minions.
Certainly
has
Rogue
the cost
could use this even better.
Yes,
but that's more the card she has, not the speed with which Rogue is played. It would be a little too slow for Rogue. So I think it's on the right class. I think it looks a bit less powerful than it is. Would be my overall assessment.
Alright, so we'll jump over to the legendary weapon. So in case you haven't been up on things, every single class is getting a legendary weapon. The first of their types.
What?
Yes, even the casters, and they're interesting. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. 4/1/5 Death Rattle, gain 10 mana crystals.
This is actually one of my favorite weapons that's being released.
Yeah, so this is one where, like with the legendary minion that we just saw, you play this, you plan when you're going to break it, you drop him, and then you drop a Ironbark Protector or a Tyrantus or something crazy.
Yeah, and this is that mid-range that I was talking about that ramps its mana really quickly. This isn't as fast as playing Wild Growth into Keeper or Mire Keeper. But when this breaks, you are going to have an insane tempo turn that in a proper mid-range list, you have something like Savage Roar or Charge Minions, or Feral Rage or anything to kill your opponent with damage, or put down a board they can't deal with. So it's a very interesting card. Of course, on the way up to getting that payout, that death rattle, you are getting 1 more damage per turn. Your hero power is able to, deal 2 damage to a minion. It's not a lot. You paid 4 mana. You're not getting a lot for it, but I think you're getting enough that when you get those 10 mana crystals, it's going to be insane. And of course, there are ways to break your weapon. Your opponent could break it. You could play Medivh the Guardian. That could even further enhance the value of this card.
So this is one, absolutely, that people are already theory crafting about how it's going to be crazy overpowered, and oh my god, what OTK, and yada yada. But you don't really need to worry about that.
You don't need to worry about that,
It's so dependent on so many factors, and it's all very late game, so just play Warrior Hunter, and then don't worry about it. So their epic spell, 4-cost branching paths, choose twice. Draw a card, give your minions 1 attack, gain 6 armor.
Yeah. A lot of choices.
Yeah.
A lot to choose. You might choose the wrong thing, and then you'll have not chosen the right thing.
Yeah.
But for 4 mana, this seems pretty powerful. I mean, it's not wild growth,
right.
But it's a good tempo play if you're giving all your minions, +2 attack.
Yes.
Or staying alive by gaining 12 armor. That's greater healing potion. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Fandral Catacombs is still in the game, so you could potentially just kind of go crazy and get all 3, and that would be really awesome.
Yeah. To me, this is just a card that's, especially at its cost, being 5 or below.
Yeah.
That means that it's pretty much always useful. You're always going to have need of a card, need of armor.
Right.
Want to buff your minions.
Absolutely.
It's not temporary.
And because you get to
keep
mix
the
and match
bonus.
that way, you might only need 1 more attack on a couple minions to get the good trades you need. Yeah. A second attack wouldn't do anything. Okay, you gain 6 armor. You get a card.
Like a swipe, it's just a very safe card to put in a deck. It's not really an issue.
It is an epic though, so you won't be putting it. You won't be getting as many.
Once you get it, you will.
Once you get it, you put it in your deck.
4, 3, 5 Astral Tiger Death Rattle. Shuffle a copy of this minion into your deck.
It comes off as such a powerful and unique effect, and yet we already have Jade Idol, so it really isn't.
Right. Well, it doesn't get destroyed by Skulking Geist, which is
Skulking Geist.
This is again pushing
such
a lot
a relevant
of these
card.
Things. A lot of these things are pushing into control, and I think that's something we might be saying across the board. Really, is that they're pushing away from. People didn't like the Pirate Warrior. They wanted to push away.
Yeah, and it's almost not even so much as the community liking it. I think that the devs on the development side, they make these kind of waves. We have a set that's more aggressive. We have a set that's more control. We have a set that's more just in the middle, cards on both sides, feeding however you want to play it. So I think this set does, tend to be more control when you have weapons, which are just typically more control-esque cards. We have a lot of high-cost legendary minions, typically more control-esque. Actually, I said legendary. A lot of high-cost minions. Yeah. So lots of high-cost minions, very powerful weapons. This card, does fit into that. I mean, certainly if your opponent's wasting all of their valuable cards, beating down your repeated Astral Tigers. However, it goes into your deck. You're going to have to redraw it. Right. That means you're going to have ample draw. Obviously, you're a druid, and there's Ultimate Infestation. So you do have ample draw. But you're going to have ample draw. Otherwise, this card's not really going to seem any better than any other 4-drop. Right. Because you're not going to draw it anymore.
To me, this is just I wish it had tag. If it had a beast tag, that'd be really cool. But,
but
basically, it's like a druid yeti. I feel a druid.
A little bit. It misses that attack, and it really.
It does miss the attack, but I don't know. I think that effect, that cycling effect that druid needs. Yeah. Mill was the druid was the first mill, so it kind of.
Speaking of minions that don't have enough attack, this 8-cost has 3 attack. And only 5 health.
So we're going to be talking about Recruit, and when we do, it's going to be almost purely negative.
We're fairly pessimistic about Recruit. Recruit is a concept originated in Yasharaj, the old god. The idea of pulling a minion at random out of your deck. And the only places, well, first of all, we didn't see Yasharaj anywhere for months. Yeah. But once we started to see him, he crept up in decks that entirely centered around him. He was a build-around, and he needed Barnes, which is why we didn't see him for months, because Barnes wasn't there yet. And once Barnes got there and made the Barnes Yasharaj deck exist, it still barely existed, and it only existed in the capacity that you have some other short list of overpowered, insanely good minions to summon, like Obsidian Statue and the Lich King and Ysera, to augment that and have a multitude of giant, multifaceted, incredibly valuable, incredibly high tempo, even as a 1/1 copy, minions to pull out of your deck at random, and you don't really care which one you hit because they're all good, unless, of course, you pull Bards.
Right.
And Recruit puts a lot of restrictions on that to prevent that. You don't get to pull Obsidian Statue, Ysera, Lich King when it's 4 or less, or 3 or less, or 2 or less, or 1 attack.
I think in a lot of ways, they mechanically have allowed the targeted kind of Yash decks that we've seen to exist, but and have put the cost on it so that it's not an unfair kind of thing.
Built those into
but at
the
the same time, they've also done targeting.
Yes.
They've done in a negative way, in a lower way. They've curbed the power on it,
so
and
it's
so
much
I think
more
they
difficult to understand.
They did too much. I think.
Well, it's much more difficult to understand where these cards will be seen. I mean, this card in particular, the Grizzled Guardian, you pull 2.
I don't know what happened.
It was here. It's gone now. But you pull 2, 4 or less. You might read that as you pull 2, 4, and then it seems good. You play an 8/3/5 taunt, and you pull 2, 4 costs. You pull an Astral Tiger and maybe a Crypt Lord, maybe another taunt minion or something. That's the Crypt Lord's basically worth 4 mana. That might seem like, oh, that's pretty good for 8 mana, which is almost your whole turn. But you might get... Now you can't be running Firefly in your deck, or any strong Battlecry 1 and 2 drops, because they don't have enough stats to carry the weight of this 8 mana that you spent on this.
Right.
And that's going to be true. It's a recurring theme for most Recruit cards, unfortunately.
So we'll kind of discuss that it's a bit of a problem for us. So let's do that. So next up, we have the 3/3/1 Greedy Sprite, Death Rattle, gain
take that
an empty mana crystal.
That's not his. Whose crystal is that? It's not your opponent's.
There are crystals all around him.
It just came
gain an empty mana crystal. This is very druidy.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that it's a Death Rattle, because I think it would be far too strong as a Battlecry. But at the same time, other than your opponent whipping out a silence against it, I don't think there's a whole lot of danger. Even with Potion of Mana still in the game, it has enough attack to sustain. So, I don't know. I like that it's a Death Rattle. I like its stats. I think that this could very easily come down, get a good trade in. Trade with a 2/2 or 2/3 or God forbid, Kirin Tormage. And then...
I mean, it could burn a hero power and it's still...
burn a hero power, and then it gets
game.
you that mana crystal. Yeah. So it's wild growth, plus your opponent has to think about it and deal with it. Yeah. And I really like that.
Just a very solid little minion. So now we're going to have this, it's probably going to have a little bit of a chat here about what Spellstones are. So Spellstones are, you can see in parentheses it says, gain 3 armor to upgrade. So what that means is each Spellstone has a different condition by which it upgrades, and upgrades twice. So there are 3 tiers for each one, and they all get stronger. And the issue is that all of these aren't good enough.
Yeah, it has to be in your hand in order to upgrade. You have to fill these conditions out while you're holding it, and it's kind of like you're holding it and you're powering it up as you do something else. And so as our first example, we have the Lesser Jasper Spellstone. Now they're all going to start as Lesser, and then they're going to drop the prefix, and then they're going to have Greater. And that's how Spellstones function. They all have a condition to upgrade them, and by and large, that condition is something you were doing, but not enough to satisfy the condition. Largely, in a typical deck you could conceive the effect in, you probably were already doing the condition, but not very much, and not nearly enough to get it to the greater form. Spellstones largely are amazing tempo or value or both when they're in their greater form, and they're typically a little under tempo in their lesser form. Their middle form is probably where you're going to see them the most, especially outside of any control decks running them. You're going to see them cast, you're going to see them in your hand upgraded to their middle form before you're ready to cast them and you feel that it's a good idea. So when we look at Jasper Spellstone, I would say, that middle form, 1 mana for 4 damage, really could come up and be useful, but you did have to satisfy that condition first. So if you top deck this card and you needed it to only be 1 mana, you look at 1 mana for 4 damage. This is more like 1 mana for 4 damage with a combo on it, because you need to gain 3 armor. And the cheapest you can get 3 armor is about 3 mana. So that's really 4 mana for 4 damage and something else happened. That's not that good, but it could come up as a strong tempo play. It's hard to say. The numbers don't line up that it's always going to be great. But there are some situations, there are some class matchups where dealing 4 damage to a minion for a relative discount is important.
Right.
But it's difficult and it's complicated, and you need to conceive that, you have to think about how this spellstone is going to interact with the rest of your deck. You can't just throw this in your deck and hope that you gain enough armor, because you're going to end up top decking it, and you don't have time to hero power 3 times.
Right. So that's the main issue that we've had with these, is one that, you know, they're fairly well tempoed, but we're already using cards that are so beyond tempo that it's kind of crazy that,
and certainly,
you know,
this isn't
really
the idea of the
and
cards is to have tempo and then get to this overwhelming and getting to that.
At the same time, I think the real issue that comes about is that either the amount or, you know, the time investment of upgrading when it's already something you were going to be doing in your strategy, it can be a little annoying to have to wait around for it. Or more commonly, I think we'll see this, and we'll point it out when it happens, that there will be things that just the strategy of how to upgrade them doesn't really fit with anything that class does or should do, or that you would do with that card in the deck, and so it just doesn't really make sense.
So largely,
they're not build around heavy.
Largely, these spellstones, right? They're not. You're not going to have a whole deck around your spellstone. You could try, but your spellstone's not going to be heavy enough, weighty enough, by and large, such as a 1 cost to justify building a deck around.
Right.
And that's typically we're going to be talking about that and how spellstones are largely weak right now. I mean, you need to build your deck around them, but they won't make a deck.
In its upgraded form, in its secondary upgraded form, this is just like a differently conditional Soulfire. It's not particularly
and you had
strong.
to work for it, and
it only goes up 1, and then you're you're so far.
Whereas
Druid
it
doesn't matter
has
how
Wrath,
cheap it was,
and
to me.
you can just put that in your deck and not have to think about it.
So there are definite problems with spellstones. So that's the two first things: spellstones and recruits. That recruit, which we've looked at
new
so
stuff,
far.
guys.
Those things we're not huge fans of, though. Of course, we're going to see them,
and we're excited to play with them.
There are new things that we are excited about.
They're just not very strong. And we like strength.
So we'll talk about those more again. Throw in the chat if you have
Golems are strong. Iron is pretty strong, and wood is pretty strong. So this Iron Word Golem is
4/3/6 taunt can only attack if you have 3 or more armor. This is a really interesting armor-focused druid release
which
that we've
works
seen,
with the spellstone,
which is totally fine.
The aforementioned Jasper,
where the whole class seems to be very focused on armor. This time, this expansion, which is cool. That's interesting. Normally they do that for a warrior, and there's
a lot of hero power interaction this expansion.
Yes,
totems, recruits, armor.
Absolutely. So
armor again.
This is a good card. This is because it has taunt. It means that it doesn't matter how much armor you have. It's still good.
Yeah, it doesn't need to attack. That's what's important to understand about this.
The elementals, they're very strong and they're good, and we don't need to worry about them. Pretty much.
And it's a common card, so Arena Druid might start existing for the first time ever. Good card. Good card. Doesn't need to attack.
Yes, we do like it. All right, so next up is a spell, the Oaken Summons.
This card is, well, certainly, the 6 armor spellstone, Ironwood Golem we just looked at, so that armor synergy for Druid, that's cool. But again, we see this recruit keyword, a meaning that costs 4 or less. It's going to be difficult to justify summoning a Firefly. Okay, let's not make it a Firefly. Let's make it any 2 costs in the game, and other than Millhouse Manastorm,
right?
And then gaining 6 armor for 4 mana. That's very hard to grasp how that's going to be a good play. You summon a 3/2 and you gain 6 armor for 4 mana. That's a lot to spend. You're a druid. You probably had like 5 mana right now anyway because you've been boosting it up.
But no, to me, this is one of the more justifiable recruit cards to run.
Okay.
That 6 armor is pretty significant. We've seen that,
half the mana already
5 and draw a card is a 3 cost. So if you get lucky on the recruit, this is one where you don't have to build around.
This is drawing a card. I mean, it's drawing it and it's putting it on the board for you.
This to me is one that you don't have to build around. You can, instead of saying I don't bring anything less than 3, you can say instead I bring a lot of death rattles, and even if you get a 1-cost death rattle, you can possibly get your money's worth from this. This one isn't too bad.
Absolutely.
This one's okay.
You could maybe not skip 1 cost, maybe try to skip 2 costs a little bit, and then get in. You got your greedy sprites, you got your solid 3-cost death rattles, those egg nappers. Get those to come out. But it's a solid card. Nothing to write home about. But
then we do have Barkskin, the 1 cost.
Barkskin. So a very interesting druid buff because it doesn't give attack. I think that might be just about the first druid buff that can't give attack that I can think of. Most of them give attack and health in equal measure.
Or one of them.
Or one of them in equal measure.
Yeah.
This also doesn't give taunt, which puts it in the kind of minority of druid buffs that don't give taunt. But you gain the 3 armor, synergizing with all the other previously mentioned armor cards. Getting 3 health, it's a little... I don't know, I guess it's just a little weird. I understand, obviously getting 3 attack would be very strong, but getting 3 health is just not very strong.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of minions for Druid that are hurting for health. They usually have a lot. They usually need attack.
Yeah.
So cards that buff both in equal measure are good hits. This one, not as much.
Yeah.
But it's 1 mana. It's very cheap.
Yeah. So that concludes Druid. We ran into a lot of the new things, so as we come across them, we're not going to be spending as much time talking about Recruit, Spellstone. There is one more thing that we haven't come across yet, and I believe it is a general card, which is unidentified things.
Unidentified,
so that's a keyword we haven't gotten
we'll get to. Yeah,
we'll get to there.
But yeah, so I guess to wrap up Druid, largely he got a lot of armor-focused things, which synergizes with some stuff already in the game, and of course his hero power. And I would say he got some solidly statted minions, along with some very low statted minions. Overall, pretty nice, even-handed cards that you're going to see coming around at some point.
Yeah. He wasn't gutted and he wasn't overpowered.
Exactly.
Like that.
Good cards.
So let's start with the Hunter Legendary, the 866 Katharina Winterwisp. Now you're going to want to notice that this the cost of the minion is over 4, so you'll never see it.
You say over 6. So remember Savannah Highmane.
Over 6. Over 6.
And of course his hero.
Well, all right. So,
but still,
Katharina
it's way past the cutoff.
Battle Cry
There's a cutoff.
And
You're a
Death
hunter.
Rattle, Recruit a Beast. Now, this is one of the few cards that doesn't pay properly for what they've decided is proper for Recruit.
And it does, has no condition on the recruits, no restrictions on the recruits. However, you're a hunter. If you made it to turn 8 without having enough low-cost beasts in your deck to ruin this, then congratulations. Now you can play this, and it'll summon you a Savannah Highmane, and then it'll die and summon you your other Savannah Highmane because you only brought Savannah Highmane as beasts in your deck.
Yeah.
That's makes this card look good.
Yep.
That's not going to happen. You're going to summon 2 kindly grandmothers with this, and you're going to feel really bad that you put it in your deck, and you were dead on 7 anyway. Or they were. And you never played this card.
Yeah. They keep doing this to Hunter, and I don't know
Hunter
why.
Can't handle it. Speaking of really expensive that Hunter can't handle, this card's hilarious.
7/4/2 Weapon Battle Cry. If your deck has no minions, fill your hands with Hunter spells.
I love it.
Why
it's
would
so stupid.
You're a hunter. Why would your deck ever have no minions?
Because you're stupid.
Never going to make it to fatigue.
Dumb.
That you're not there.
But it's so much fun. I like being dumb. Dumb is fun. Lock and Load is one of my favorite Hunter cards.
No.
Because I don't need any minions. I'll just keep playing spells.
Do not run this.
Spells.
Do not build
Hunter spells. Right. A Hunter spell.
A Star Wars spell. Crushing walls. Destroy your opponent's left and rightmost minions. This is powerful, or at least it can be. The only issue for me is that it is really expensive for being so targeted. It's like you could just play 2 deadly shots.
We're going to see cards later in this review that are overtly better. We've seen cards in the past you've played with cards that are just overtly better, that are a similar effect and cheaper, that are a better effect and the same cost, or cheaper. I don't understand why it costs that much. Hunter already doesn't have good cards for control.
I think you're just paying for the animation with this card.
You are, because he doesn't have a hero power for control. He doesn't have cards for control. And even in a control deck, this isn't strong. Yeah. Warrior would not run this. He has 2 Brawls, 2 Sleep with the Fishes. He doesn't need this. Why would...
We're going to keep talking about that with Hunter as we move on to the next card. To my side, 6 cost epic spell, summon an animal companion,
not worth
or
it.
2 if your deck has no
just
minions.
Worth it.
This is... stupid. Why do you have no minions?
Well, you have no minions, so you need minions.
No.
And this is minions.
No.
But it's minions.
This is not minions.
To my side.
This is dumb.
It's bad.
Stop doing this.
But I'm going to try it anyway.
All right.
And I'm going to have so much fun with no minions in my deck.
Seeping Oozling, 6/5/4, just rare. Battlecry, gain the Death Rattle of a random minion.
This
in
card
your
is
deck.
interesting.
This is fine.
Of course, it comes off as weak because of the 6/5/4, and it's not a beast. So that already, I'm like, okay, do I even need to read the text? It's 6/5/4 and no beast.
But with the kind of death rattles, the death rattle, he's already such a death rattle heavy class that this is something
and
where,
you can put in some really powerful death rattles.
This is basically a secondary Barnes. Now, we've seen that deck with Hunter, the Barnes Hunter, and this is, hey, let's keep that going.
Because your death rattles, you could have a deck where your death rattles are Rat Pack, Bloatbat, Savannah Highmane, and the Devilsaur Egg. None of those are bad hits. That's only 8 cards out of your deck. Most of them work well together or within a similar deck archetype that you didn't really have to bend too far back to get this in there with them. And now you can be running your play deads and you can be synergizing with your death rattles just enough that when this comes down on curve, you don't care what death rattle it hits. It's a strong play and you can work with it. The only issue, I mean, and you have not the only issue, but one major issue I see is that Savannah Highmane is such a strong card.
Yeah.
It almost replaces him not only because of the mana cost, but because if you do get Savannah Highmane's death rattle, you could have just played Savannah Highmane and had more stats and beast
to
tag.
me, this is one of those things, especially where, you end up getting it's much more likely for you to get things that are higher end. You're burning through your earlier minions, even though you have a few more of them. You know, if only some of them are death rattles, you have them.
Yep.
And you can technically get the death rattle of your legendary hero and recruit. So you can kind of play this Highmane and get a Highmane. Yeah, she's a death rattle. Death rattle recruit beast.
Right.
So you can end up getting some kind of snowballing effects from him.
Yeah,
if you build around. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this as a sort of.
But I like it. It's an interesting card. It might be a little too expensive to be, really meta. But in a more amateur sense, I mean, if you're just trying to have fun, I think it's a very fun card. I think it's pretty legit. So.
Yep. All right, so we have the
It won't get
Hunter.
reduced by Corpse Widow, though. It's not a death rattle. Or is it? No. Battlecry gained the death rattle.
Yeah.
It's not a death rattle.
It's not a death rattle
Not
minion,
gonna be reduced by
even
Corpse
though it
Widow.
has a death rattle. So if it says give your death
it
rattle
gains the death
minions,
rattle
it does
later.
work,
It's
but
a Battlecry.
it doesn't get resummoned. So, 5 cost lesser emerald spellstone. So this will jump into what's the progression for this? Starts at 3/3 wolves.
Yeah, it goes to 2. It goes to 3 of them and then 4 of them.
Okay, so you get 4 3/3 wolves. They're all gonna have beast tag, which is nice. But it's not.
I might be thinking of the priest one. That might be the same. I don't know. Let's look.
Oh, wrong one. Wrong button.
Well, in the meantime, play a secret to upgrade.
Yeah, it is 4
3 and
3/3 wolves, and then just so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, those are wolves.
Beast tag,
not
beast tag.
Because it's a wolf.
They don't scale up. They don't get stronger. This is again not the most awful spellstone. You're probably going to play the 2 secrets because it only takes 2 secrets to upgrade.
And if you have no minions in your deck, this is a solid card.
It is expensive. So you can get this off on turn 5, but you're going to have to kind of plan around it. You're going to be mulliganing for it.
You really want it to be upgraded at least to the middle. And I've already said this before, that's typically what we're going to be talking about. That's what you're going to see in actual duels. Is middle played spellstones. This one in the middle does seem actually pretty strong. 9/9 of stats for 5 mana. Maybe I'm inflating how good that is because they all die to Flame Strike and Blizzard, ping, 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 ping. But that's a lot of stats. You're a hunter. You can work with those beast tag little minions. And playing 1 secret while this was in your hand is actually pretty viable to do. You want to draw it a little early so that you can play that secret, not waiting till turn 4 to play the secret. You probably want to play your secrets on 2 and 3. But if you can manage that, if you can swing that, it's not too difficult to do. I don't think it's too heavy. And you really could play this just for the 2 3/3 wolves. If you somehow didn't get a secret out. And it could be okay. It's not a bad top deck. It's one of the few spellstones that's not a bad top deck.
To me, a lot of the spellstones are kind of functioning like quests, where you do want them almost in your opening.
You kind of want to keep them in your mole.
Yeah.
You just don't want to go overboard and have
which is good because sometimes quests are you don't want it in your opening hand.
True.
And anyway, so 2 cost Wandering Monster Secret. When an enemy attacks your hero, you summon a 3 cost minion as the new
So this
target.
is a lot like Bear Trap if you were around when that was a card. The major differences being that it's not always going to be a 3/3 taunt beast. It might be better or worse, but your hero doesn't get hit at all. That's really important if you're about to die.
Yes.
It's really bad. Important to understand that it's not good if you aren't about to die. If you're at full health and you could have had a minion and instead your minion died. So it's got ups and downs over Bear Trap, but we saw Bear Trap as a very strong card, so... Ups and downs, I'd say this is certainly playable and possibly amazing.
Yeah.
It almost entirely depends on what 3 cost you get. And if it has poisonous, which is somewhat likely. One of the most 3 cost has some of the most poisonous in the game.
No, this is
3 and 5.
This is I like this. This is the kind of secret that I like.
Yeah.
So
Hunter got only spells this expansion, along with his
yes.
weapon.
4 cost, flanking strike, deal 3 damage to a minion, summon a 3/3 wolf. Yeah. Again, we've been seeing
it's
a
going
lot
to be
of
a
these
wolf.
3/3
He's
wolves.
going to be a beast tag, 3/3
You can
wolf.
end up with 5 3/3 wolves on turn 5.
Boom, 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 wolf.
And 2 secrets.
I really love the art for this card. I like the kobolds are fun, and then there's a wolf. No, to really analyze this card, I would say it is 3 casts of On the Hunt for the cost of 4 casts of On the Hunt. Solid, not great, not bad.
Then we have the Cave Hydra. Excuse our blurry art here.
Who cares? It's an
3,
amazing
2, 4,
card. Don't look
also,
at the art. Read the text.
Also damages the minions next to whomever this attacks.
So
Beast Tag.
Beast Tag. That means this is not just a 3/2/4. That's amazing. It's eventually a 3/4/6 taunt. That's infinitely more amazing. It's a 3/2/4, and then you give it +3 attack with Crackling Razor Maw, or you give it Divine Shield. Don't give it taunt if you can avoid it, but it's a very good minion. Yeah. It's a very good minion. It's a common. I don't know why it's a common. This reads like a rare at least.
It kind of feels like every single card in this set is either really amazing or a joke.
It does feel that way.
And
this is that's a joke. It's so amazing.
Yes.
And here's a real joke.
Hunter weapon, because Hunter already was taking so much damage with his really high attack
now you've got
weapons.
Wandering Monster defending you. You've got your Candle Shot keeping you alive.
Candle Shot's dumb. I don't like it.
Well, it's like Light's Justice.
No.
It's like just as good as Light's Justice.
No.
You don't like Light's Justice?
No, I don't.
Yeah, this card isn't good, but it's funny. And if Hunter ever gets weapon buffing, it could actually be
I'm
a
pretty
very legitimately good
positive
card.
that this was released in an attempt to water down some future expansions Hunter random weapon thing.
It could be. And all random weapon is getting watered down because of this. But like I said, if Hunter ever gets a capacity to buff his weapons beyond the just general cards, which is what he currently has, this actually would be a very strong card. You'd pull this out on 1, you wouldn't swing it, then you give it 1 more attack, and now it's kind of insane because now you are dealing 2 damage every turn for 3 turns in the first 4 turns of the game without taking any damage for it. That's really powerful. So it needs 1 more attack, and then it's amazing. Yeah. Right now, I can't get that.
I can't wait until Thursday. I can pull Molten Blade out of my warrior. All right, then we switch over to Mage. So this is the Mage.
We didn't wrap up Hunter. Hunter got a lot of spells. Okay, Mage.
Yeah, Mage.
Also got a lot of spells.
So Mage is cursed to have only stupid legendaries after Antoninus is so amazing. So 9/3/3. 9/3/3.
That's 9 mana, 3 attack, 3 health.
Battlecry summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell. So basically, it's a 9/3/3. Fill your board with 5/5 dragons. Which all of those dragon mages out there.
Dragon mages. Well, she's not a dragon.
All
actually,
of one person.
You were never holding a dragon.
No, but they're all dragon tag.
But you have to have dragons in your hand for it to matter.
Oh, right.
And she's not a dragon.
All of you nearly dragon mages.
I guess
there.
what I throw down real quick is right now we already see, and for all of time we have seen mage lists that involve sitting back, hitting your opponent with spells, keeping them off, boom, you're dead. Antonitis usually is featured, or some other way to get the damage. Pyroblasts, Fireballs, Frostbolts, Alexstrasza. So this card is kind of another ending to the story. Instead of killing your opponent, you put down a board that will kill your opponent. So why that's overtly weaker is that they could kill the board before it kills them. These dragons don't have charge. However, if they don't, it's 33 damage total if you finish it. So you cast 2 Blizzards, you cast 2 Flame Strikes, you cast 2 Catacombs, and you're done. So if that's what you did to get to turn 9, you could drop this down, and if your opponent doesn't have a wipe, and that wipe can't be Dragonfire Potion, then they're dead. Ish. Unless they're a mage, and they ice block, and then they play Exodia, and you lose. But that's kind of what you're going with here.
I feel like that people will probably play around with this card. I don't know that it'll ever see any meta.
It's not
place,
weak, but it's so.
I think that people will play around with it. I think that it's you know, it's just on the edge. If somebody can link a couple of pieces to get Time Warp off with this card, it's lethal. And
that's not going to happen. But if you're up against a control matchup, it's going to be so terrible because you're just going to play it into Brawl. You're just going to play it into a Quality of Consecration, into Psychic Dream, into whatever your control opponent's ready to do to clear your board. You're a mage. You haven't baited out any board wipes. You've been playing tiny little 1, 2, and 3 drops all duel, and then nothing at all because you're a mage, and most of your expensive cards, especially because this card's in your deck, are spells. You never baited out their board wipe. They have both Brawls in their hand. So they're good.
Yeah.
Even if you have Counterspell already down, they just play both Brawls, and you still don't win.
All right, so we'll move on to the
we need to move
legendary.
On.
It's not...
Yeah.
The 603...
Don't keep it.
People also are very, very opinionated about this card. Alaneth,
it's
at
just
the
a
end
very...
of your turn, draw 3 cards. And so the idea is that within 2 turns of playing this, somebody has lost the duel.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 times.
It's you.
It's you.
Yeah. So the issue here, I mean, the 2 major issues. 6 mana, do nothing, is really, this turn, do nothing, is what is the text on this card. 6 mana, don't do anything. That hits you really hard. Maybe not so much as a mage with a control list, but it's just hard to handle that you couldn't have blizzarded when you played this unless you primordially glyphed that blizzard, and it's turn 10. So you can't afford to stop your opponent and play this. You can barely afford Nova. You can barely afford Kona Cold. And then draw enough cards at the end of your turn that your hand is damn near full. And then at the end of next turn, draw enough that it's definitely full. And then draw too many. So you need to either have incredibly cheap cards so that it doesn't fill up, and then somehow get cards back in your deck so you don't fatigue, or you need to have a situation where you're playing this into drawing the remainder of your deck, and that remainder of your deck, as I mentioned before, is cards that kill your opponent.
Or you can curve it out after you play this guy, because I love this kind of
cards
thing.
in your
I
deck,
love Beneath the Grounds, which was the first one that we've really seen, and Kor'kron Annihilator I really loved, which also used this kind of effect, which is 5 cost, shuffle 5 scrolls into your deck when drawn, cast a random
certainly
spell. When
I'm holding Alaneth, I love this card. But before I equip Alaneth, I'm a little skeptical that this isn't terrible. And with Alaneth, as nice as it seems, turn 5 mana, you didn't do anything. Turn 6, you equipped Alaneth, which means you didn't do anything. So you spent 2 turns doing absolutely nothing in the middle of a duel, and your hunter opponent didn't kill you, and your priest opponent didn't do anything, and your warrior opponent didn't summon a bunch of taunts. I mean, if you do it, then it's good. But will you survive it? Not so.
And just like Beneath the Grounds, when you draw these, it does draw you a card in addition to playing the spell, which means if you're Alanething and you pull 2 of them, then you still fill your hand and you still get to play 2 spells out of it, which is really awesome.
And it's more randomness, mage.
Yeah, more random mage is just
what am I casting? You won't know till it's over. Yeah.
All right, so here's a spell to be thrown in there. Is the Dragon's Fury, 5 cost,
because you're a dragon mage.
From your deck, deal damage equal to its cost.
Has
to
nothing
all
to do with
minions.
Dragons.
It
except for the art and the name.
Is the only reason that you might want to bring that legendary. Because 9 is some good damage to deal.
This could be incredibly powerful. I mean, obviously, I don't need to say that. You could draw Flame Strike, or reveal Flame Strike, and then deal 7 damage to everybody, and that's, you cast 2 Flame Strikes.
Oh, it is spell specific. I was thinking of just card.
Yeah, no, it's spell. So you could limit your deck to working with the Dragon Summoner chick, whatever her name was, that we just looked at.
Yeah.
And then your spells are really expensive, and then this consistently does 4 more damage to the whole board. And that makes it look like a good card. The issue is now you have a deck that doesn't have Frostbolt, that doesn't have Breath of Syndragosa, that doesn't have Arcane Intellect, that doesn't have any secrets. That's not a real deck.
Yeah. Not a mage.
Yeah, a deck with no 3 or less spells won't, I don't think, function ever in Hearthstone. It doesn't matter about the meta. Yeah. You need spells before turn 4. So now you have to get lucky
for random. And
so now you have to get lucky with your Dragon's Fury, and that makes it a little...
So next up we have an elemental card. It's 4/4/5, Leyline Manipulator, Battlecry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. This is really awesome. Everybody likes this, and it has elemental tag because, fuck all the other classes.
So Quest Mage
Lifesteal.
already talked about cards didn't start in your deck. or really spells that start in your deck. This actually talks about
it's
cards.
It's both the quest and it's the Knights of the Frozen Throne Death Knight card.
So obviously, I'm going to say what's on everybody's mind. This works wonders with Mukla, Tyrant of the Veil, because those bananas become free. Free bananas, everybody.
That's not what we're discussing. He's really good. Put him in your elemental deck. Next up, we have a new secret.
I love this card.
Luckily, they made it a 3 cost. That would be bad if it wasn't.
It's like your opponent thinks it's Mirror Entity, and then they just run into an explosive rune.
After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it and any excess to their hero.
To the face.
So there's been an issue, especially with, say, the Hunter's Secret that deals 4 damage to a minion when it's played.
Snipe.
That, if they play just, a Firefly or something crappy, then, okay, I guess it's only 2 ghost spells, fine. And doing that on a mage is, it's an extra mana, there's a lot of problems, and this one says, hey, you're gonna get value from it no matter what.
Right. 6 damage will probably be overkill because your opponent's going to play around it, and this card says you want it to be overkill. In the right situation, at the right time, if you do this properly, you want to get as much overkill as you can. I love it.
Yeah. All right, so we got.
And if they have Divine Shield, it should deal the full 6 to their face. You dealt 0 to the minion. Boom.
I think
Fireball.
it would do
full
the
damage
whole
to their
6
face.
to the minion.
No.
I think it does the 6 to the minion.
The full 6. But you didn't deal any damage to the minion.
Nope.
You dealt 0 to
I think
him.
it just destroys the Divine Shield, and
need
there's
to
no
know
leftover.
that.
I'm pretty sure. We'll check it out. We'll stream it.
I want Fireball to the face.
Check out our stream.
Try to paladin me.
I'll try to get early on Thursday. I do have to work, but hopefully early we can do a little bit of sciencing of that stuff. Maybe
we got science. We got
pack
dungeon
opening,
runs.
that kind of thing. Mostly dungeon runs.
Yeah, it's mostly actually for the next month. I'll be tied up with dungeon runs.
Really shitty spellstones. Lesser Ruby Spellstone, only 2. Add 1 random mage spell to your hand. Upgrade to add up to 3 random mage spells to your hand for 2. This is one of the weaker ones where it doesn't really go anywhere.
Because it's Primordial Glyph.
Especially since you're doing an elemental deck, not the random deck.
It's the cost of Primordial Glyph. You don't get to discover. It's random. And it doesn't go down in cost by the same number of the cost of the spell. So casting this before you've upgraded it is that's terrible. It's just terrible.
But even after,
even when it's fully upgraded, it's just a reduced cost Kabbalist Tome.
Right. So,
and you're a tempo elemental deck for some reason. And a mage.
Here's a beast.
I don't know.
That hunters are gonna hope that they roll randomly.
Which hunters? Mm-hmm. The hunters that don't have any minions in their deck.
No, stop it.
Yeah.
Reveal a spell in each deck. Yours costs more. Draw it.
Crushing walls right out of my deck.
This can just be a draw card.
It's a hunter
There's no drawback. I mean, 2/2/2 isn't awful. But if you get the effect off, then it's certainly good because it'll probably
I can't get this in my hand without
targeting.
minions though.
It's just an interesting card, and this is very
joust a spell out of your deck. King's Elec.
Weird.
It's have expensive spells and try to not miss.
But with a mage, or maybe you can curve it out. I mean, it's not really a drawback.
Yeah, it's not as good as Draw a Secret,
especially against Druid. You're pretty much never going to succeed.
You could guarantee Draw a Secret and have 1 more health.
Anyway, so next up we have Mage, Steel, and Voidwalker artwork. We got 1/1/2. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to the cost. I like this a lot. This is a really powerful card.
Well, I mean, you play it on 1, and then turn 2, you beat their minion.
Don't play it at 1. Don't play this at 1.
But you can.
This is
you can. I'm talking about the worst.
Apprentice.
But I'm talking about the worst place to use it, and it's still good. You play it on 1. They play a minion. You frostbolt it. You got 2 armor because you played a 1-drop. And then they still don't have anything on board to kill it with.
So really
then
good.
You play another spell. You play you Volcanic Potion, and you kill it. You still get another 3 armor. That's a total of 5 armor from your 1-drop. Which is a warrior spell, except you also got a 1/2.
The final spell that Mage gets is
Or you can just wait to gain 7 armor with Flame Strike.
Which is Mirror, or the Rogue Shadow copy. It is
Molten
each
Spell.
turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random Mage spell. The molten weapon spell. It
has no cost. First card in the game to have no cost.
Yeah, it doesn't have a cost.
It's just a mana crystal. They didn't even need to print that up there.
Yeah, slightly larger mana crystal than normal.
No, it's the same size. It just looks larger because there's no number.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure you're not sure.
So this is, exactly what it is. To wrap up Mage, I'd say...
She got 5 spells, and 4 of them are random.
Don't play Mage anymore.
Because you don't know what's in your deck.
So we'll jump over to Paladin here, starting with the legendary minion, Linessa Sunsaru. 7/1/1. Battlecry cast each spell you cast on your minions this game. On this one,
Blessing of Wisdom is one of my favorite.
We're gonna see 2 decks about this minion.
Yeah, but yeah,
we're gonna see a Blessing of Wisdom and a face.
I love Blessing of Wisdom,
this.
and it's totally garbage. But if I get both my copies of Blessing of Wisdom off, and then I get to sit in my hand because of all that wisdom, and then she has 2 copies, and then she draws me 2 cards. I don't even need her to get any stats. She'll just be a 7/1/1.
This is insanely powerful. Yeah. We're gonna see, this
and most of them are
gonna
come out with like 4 or 5 Divine Shields.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm very excited. That's probably one of my probably my top 3 legendaries for the set.
Speaking of amazing weapons,
6/4/2 Valenier, the Death Rattle. Give a minion in your hand 4/2 when it dies.
So this is why
infinite weapon.
This is why Blizzard said that Stone Tusk Boar wasn't healthy for the game because you finish your Valenier, you charge a Stone Tusk Boar into my 5/5, and then you still have your Valenier. And you only spent 1 mana. What?
People are going to start running Light's Justice just to
break
cycle
their
through Valenier.
This card is insane. With charge minions, with taunt minions. Pick a minion that has something going on other than just stats.
Yeah.
And now it gets more stats.
Yeah, randomly
and then you
roll a Paladin card.
And then you get more stats. And then you get your weapon back.
Yeah. It's insane.
I'm not even mentioning Serenite Chain Gang and Doppelgangster because it's not. You don't even need those.
Yes,
just
it's
minions.
Very, very powerful. So then we also have an epic spell, 5 cost, level up.
Level it up.
Give your silver hand recruits
it looks painful.
+2 to.
That guy's screaming in agony. He leveled up so hard.
And taunt.
I think he got up 2 levels from like 1 kill. You know, like you kill the boss and it's just like you went from level 3.
This
is
a rare card. This is a rare card in the set that uses the term recruit and doesn't suck.
It's an epic card. It's an epic card.
Yes, it is.
It does have the word recruit. Absolutely. It's very interesting. Give your Silverhand recruits 2/2 and taunt. It's almost Sunkeep or Tarim your recruits for 5 mana, which makes me not like it. But Sunkeep or Tarim is like really, really, really good. So I probably shouldn't be comparing it to him. This is a good card.
Yeah. Then we have Call to Arms. This is actually a rare, good recruit card as well. Yeah. 4 costs. Get
so many minions. So many minions.
Up to
6. Yeah, somewhere between 3 and 6 will probably be.
Yeah, we're probably going to average out 4 or 5.
More than 4.
As much as 6, you can target it if you want because it's very easy to play around with.
This is why they printed Millhouse Manastorm 3 years ago. Because they were getting ready for this card.
That's true. That's true.
No, I really like this card. It's like Muster for Battle, but it doesn't have that a little too strong aspect of putting a weapon on with it. It's just a solid summon a crap ton of minions for not a lot of mana.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be recruits, which I personally don't even like the flavor of recruits. So I do like this kind of... No. So speaking of stuff... we have this 6/5/5 Crystal Lion Divine Shield, cost 1 less for each silver hand recruit you control.
This is a rare card.
Because it has all of the stats that it needs. It has Divine Shield. It doesn't have Taunt, which we talked about being a little frustrating, but
it would be so good with Taunt, but I don't know.
Very good.
Because it could just be because at that point it's just 6/5 Taunt.
A Paladin who hasn't summoned at least 1 recruit by turn 5 doesn't exist. So you can always curve it out 5/5/5, and then it just gets better from there.
We still have the Silverhand. Is that what it's called? What's it called?
Yeah. You can get this out on turn 4.
I'm saying we still have summon 5 Silverhand recruits for 5 mana.
Well, no. You have the 1 cost summon 2.
Yeah, but what's
so
that?
turn 1 you have 2, so he cost.
But I'm thinking 1 turn like
and then
I cannot think of the name of that
another
card.
one.
Standing Against Darkness.
Yeah, Standing Against Darkness.
On 6, you can play Standing Against Darkness and this
so
card.
I think we are losing that.
Yeah, we will be, but not yet. And you can play Stand Against Darkness Crystal Lion on turn 6, so you get it pretty much for free.
Yeah.
Almost. Or
So,
really, you get Stand Against Darkness.
We're going to start talking about our unidentified things.
Yeah, so this is our first unidentified.
So
this one happens to be a mall, but we don't know that yet. It has 3/2/2, and then it's going to get something else. So that something else typically is more significant than what you got. So obviously 3/2/2, you don't really want to put that in your deck or put it on or really ever see it at all.
Right.
That's crap. But then it gets another effect, and that other effect totally justifies having it at all, and you actually completely forget that you also get a 2/2 weapon because of the really cool other stuff that happens.
Specifically, this is going to get a Battle Cry effect when you draw it. And that Battle Cry effect is either going to be give your minions Divine Shield, give your minions Taunt,
all of them.
Summon 2 1/1 Silverhand Recruits, or give your minions +1 attack. Yep. One of those is way weaker than all of the other ones.
Yeah.
But that means that it might be useful even if somebody's doing a very good job at clearing your board. This is good.
It's good.
That's pretty much all that needs to be said.
It's got built-in recruit synergy if you draw that, if you're a recruit deck. But if you're a recruit deck, you're spamming the board with a lot of little things. Yep. So all 4 effects work really well with that, except maybe Taunt. And if you're not a recruit deck, then the summoning 2 recruits seems a little weak, but the other 3 effects could be phenomenal. You could have some sort of charging strategy going with Valinir, where you, in the meantime of you not holding Valinir, or you're busting your Valinir to give your Stone Tusk Spore charge, and you play the Stone Tusk Spore, then you give all your minions +1 attack. I mean, you can get some really crazy stuff going on. So charge minions, token minions, and then you could also hope, cross your fingers for late game Taunt or Divine Shield bonus effect, and then you could actually use it on some very sizable, hefty minions. Give your Raglight Lord Divine Shield.
Though all of the effects are very powerful and usable, and it's a very versatile card. So we do have
you don't know what you're going to get,
this
I like this one.
Ramp up, I believe, by summoning Stronger Spirit. Is that what it is?
You get another. I think you get 2 and 3 spirits. More spirits.
No,
Stronger Spirits.
No. It
Stronger
goes 4/4 with Taunt, and then 6/6 with Taunt.
What he said.
You're already healing. So my only question, and this is something that you probably have a hypothesis on, but we haven't seen because I didn't watch the live stream, and I know that they're actually doing something right now. So, or no, sorry. Yes, right now. Is that I don't know. Since say I have a spell that restores 6 health to me, do I jump both tiers, or do I have to do it at separate times?
We should know that.
And we don't know that, which is weird that we don't.
We should know
and I feel like it's restore 3.
I think it's
and
separate.
Then
I think it's separate.
Restore 3.
We should have researched that. But I think it's separate. Chat, if you want to correct me.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and it's just like a very strange thing, but it does go 4/4/6/6, and a 2/6/6 taunt is good, but
what is
I mean, it's
why so this card is relatively strong. Summoning a 2/2 spirit with taunt for 2 mana is kind of fine. You shouldn't really be like, if you need it, if you need the taunt, you're happy to top deck this, throw it down for the taunt. Restoring health is not difficult for a paladin to do. What's difficult is to get that health restored early, because you need to take the damage and then restore it.
Yes.
3 is not the right number for True Silver Champion, so it's going to be a little difficult to get this down really early, and it being a 2 cost, you'd kind of like that.
Yeah.
But what I like about this card is it's not a weak top deck, and if you are holding it early and you are restoring health with, say, the next card we're about to show, then you could get this, but you could get this down actually relatively early, because it needs to get down before 6 to be early, because it's a 6/6 taunt.
And I don't, this isn't something that needs to be down early. Maybe it's just a, control late game. I want to get the 6/6 taunt, and I want to do something to start building a board. It's got layers to it.
This card is a good way to upgrade your spell
does not pay for itself.
You don't need to care about your spell stone.
3/2/4.
Elemental.
That's on par. 3/2/4 is balanced.
That's pretty good,
Elemental. Okay, you're kind of not really paying for that, but that's okay.
You don't need to pay for that.
Heal 3. This is
every
very,
turn.
very
think Vitality
very strong.
Totem, which was a 2/0/4. This got the attack for going up. It heals a little bit less, but it's also an elemental. It's also a paladin card, which is a completely different animal than a shaman card. Fun fact: the first translation I saw for this card was Fluffy Jin. Fluffy Jin. So if you want to call it Fluffy Djinn,
I'm a little
you're not
disappointed
wrong.
it's not a Fluffy Djinn.
You're not wrong.
So really overpowered. This is an interesting card. We're talking about the playing recruits to get things
this is a really solid
whatnot. So yeah, 2/1/1 Death Rattle adds 3 Silverhand recruits to your hand.
Works with hand buff. It works with Silverhand recruit synergy. It works with Knife Juggler and anything else that mentions summoning minions. It works with questing adventure. Anything else that mentions playing cards, because this gives you 3 1/1/1s in your hand. That's really a lot to have, and it's very versatile. And the fact that it's a 2/1/1 kind of goes, you know, you're kind of like, well, that's a hero power, isn't it? So you didn't lose much. If you were gonna summon, if you like Silverhand recruits, you were gonna summon one. Instead, you get this guy, then you get 3, and then you can next turn summon 1 and summon 1, and repeatedly.
So turn 1, you play 2 Silverhand recruits. Turn 2, you do this.
You set up having 3 in your hand so that you can summon 2 more and 2 more.
Yeah, and then you get
play your Crystal Lion.
Your turn 4, turn 3.
You get
turn 3 Crystal Lion.
Yep.
Cool.
Fluffy
so next up, we do have a spell. We have Potion of Heroism, 2 cost.
It's a potion.
Give a minion, Divine Shield,
Paladin
and draw a
potion.
card. That's totally on par. Both of those things cost 1, and it's just put them together and do it at once. It can't. I actually find these kind of cards to be restrictive, because if you don't have board state, which I mean you're a paladin, so you should.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you have to wait around.
Well, I would say
annoying.
because you're not super
But
excited.
of course, with Bolvar, this is something where you can't throw it on an enemy and start.
Well, you're not super excited about
and...
giving a recruit Divine Shield, but if you need the card, you can summon a recruit and draw the card. So,
unlike it can be any minion.
Unlike Mark of Yasharaj and Druid, where if you don't have the minion, you just don't have the minion. Now you're not getting a card. This, you can have the minion if you need it.
Yeah. All right, so that's all we have for Paladin. Paladin overall is
a lot of strong
really
cards.
Kick-ass legendary and really kick-ass.
A lot of strong cards. I mean, I
weapons.
don't really see a weak card in his set. There's very strong cards. So Paladin's fun. None of them are Murlocs. So that's different.
Good. All right, so starting off with Priest, we have 7/6/6 Temporis.
I almost feel like we should look at Temporis
Dragon
last.
Tag. Battle Cry, your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns.
So this is a very fun card. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's stupid. You're going to kill yourself. That's the kind of stupid shit I want to see for 7 mana on Priest.
If he plays this really late game and you're a mage and you drop down your board full of dragons,
but if you don't have it yet, but if you read your opponent's moves right and you realize he doesn't have,
you just need to steal that stealth card from the rogue so that you can be stealthed for it.
But I love it. It's goony. It's crazy. It definitely could just might work, and it's not something as overtly strong as Raza and the Shadow Reaper auto win. You actually have to think about this really critically. You have to think about, it's not just your deck. You don't just build your deck to work with this. You have to play it right in the moment. Sometimes you'll be dropping this on curve, and your opponent's going to look at you sideways like, what the fuck are you doing? I can't do anything with these 2 turns. I'm just going to draw 2 cards. I was waiting for you to play stuff, and then I was going to Flame Strike it. And you didn't, I was going to Spreading Plague, but then you only, and then they just waste 2 turns, and then you get 2 turns. And you, if you built your deck around it and you have to read the situation correctly, might be able to move mountains with those 2 turns. You might be able to get your opponent from full to less than half health with 2 turns. You might be able to go from dead to healing all the way up, because he got 2 turns. He almost killed you.
We can spend all night talking about the different things that we can do with this card. We can talk about Molten Giants.
And then there's 2 turns. But then there's 2 turns.
But the idea for this and several other cards is that what they're taking is they're taking what people don't like, which is OTK, and they are saying we're going to allow it, but you have to do it by our rules, and we're going to balance that in a way we think is appropriate. And that's exactly what it is. So we're going to move on to the weapon, which is the Dragon Soul.
I don't like it.
Which is one of the first cards they revealed. This
I don't like it.
3/0/3 after you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 dragon. This is very conditional. This is very silly for Priest to be expected to do. And a 5/5 dragon isn't actually something they're going to be doing anything with. So no, this isn't a very good card.
So there are 3 caster classes: Warlock, Mage, Priest, and all 3 got weapons. The first weapons ever. That's hype. So we already talked about Alaneth and all the drawbacks of Alaneth and how it could totally be used, but it's very, very difficult and heavy. Now Dragon Soul is a completely different animal. It is cheap. It's not too heavy. It can totally be used. Except you need to spam cast spells, which you can totally do. You have Radiant Elemental, you have Lyra the Sun Shard, you can have a Gadget Sand if you want it, you can have the coin that you got from your Mulligan, you have the coin you get from somewhere else later in the set. You can have, many multitudes of one-cost spells, slam it down to 0 with your Radiant Elemental. So casting a lot of spells, totally something a priest can do. Summoning 5/5 dragons, not bad. I don't like it. You're a tempo deck that's wasting turn 3, a very pivotal turn to be playing, something like Talon Priest and getting the board, because you basically gave up on the board to then give your opponent an opening. Your hunter opponent, who should never have a chance against you because you're a priest. You just gave him this massive opening by putting on this weapon. He can still have an Exodus Swampus and just completely ruin this for you. And you didn't get anything. Yeah. Because you probably aren't on turn 3 playing this and then playing the 3 spells. So now you have to wait. And again, it's a hunter opponent who shouldn't be beating you, and yet you are now just sitting there with this card in your hand, sitting here with the spells to combo with it, waiting to play them all. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
It's a goofy build around that won't be strong once you've built
it might be
around,
great.
So
I still don't like it.
I don't think so. So we have the epic spell, 7-cost Psychic Scream.
Yeah.
Shuffle all minions.
I think I've read that wrong about 6 times, and I was about to read it wrong.
Shuffle all minions, which meaning
in fact,
minions,
I said it. I think I mentioned it earlier, and I said the wrong.
Psychic Scream.
I said Psychic Dream.
Shuffle all minions on the board into your opponent's deck. Now, why is that good?
Because the board's clear. Oh, you weren't going to say anything.
No, why is that
you
good?
Weren't gonna say anything. I actually like this card. So 7 mana seems expensive for a complete board wipe, and that you are not a Warlock player, because that costs 8 mana. So this is not quite a complete board wipe.
No, this mage I'm fighting is going to kill herself with fatigue. I'll help.
Yeah.
Stay with me.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, certainly putting minions in your opponent's deck does seem like a problem. I think against a lot of classes, and maybe too many classes, this is a weak option, because you're helping your warrior opponent, you're helping your mage opponent, you're helping your priest opponent. It's a priest card. And he can take it from you and then use it against you, and then he's helping you. And largely I see this, as a fairly weak card. It's like a slightly discounted Twisted Nether that possibly sets them up to do even better later. Yes. But what I think is important is
this might be the first card that gets worse in Arena.
That you can run Keening Banshee and give them 2 copies of it, and now they have these shitty Keening Banshees. But more importantly is that against a rogue or a hunter, those 2 classes don't draw nearly enough, or they draw in such a burst that... Or they draw in such a way, Rogue specifically with her spell cycle, that you might actually be significantly hindering your opponent, both by clearing their board and by putting minions back in their deck. I mean, just putting her Gadget Sand Auctioneer back in her deck and then your minions is significant. You got Gadget Sand off the board. She has to redraw him. Yeah. But in the meantime, she's drawing your shitty Northshire Cleric that she can't do anything with. And Hunter, the same idea. Yeah. He's got tons of strong death rattles on board. You don't activate those death rattles. You get them off the board, and he's not going to redraw them. Yeah. He'll be dead before he does.
So
Priest now can finally beat Hunter.
Yeah. Moving on from that, we have the 3/2/4 Twilight Acolyte, Epic Minion, Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, swap this minion's attack with another minions. I find this weird. It can be one of those Cobalt Scalebane kind of things where everybody's just passed around increased attack. But it's just a very awkward kind. Like I don't know why that minion. Because
it's now another you can minion, activate so you can steal. Potion of Madness.
You can't steal minions, which is
Shadow Word
not
Pain,
friendly.
Horror. Shadow Word Horror. So what it allows you to do is, if you're holding a dragon, you can now use all your stupid X or less attack card spells on your opponent's minion. So this could be, if you're holding Pain or Madness, either Madness, a way to clear a minion. It's reminiscent of Vol'jin, one of my favorite now, out of the game priest cards. I liked Vol'jin a lot. And what he did was he took their health and he gave them 2 health. And so that allowed you to then Holy Nova, which you couldn't afford, but what is he, 5 or 6? No, he's 5. So you should Holy Nova or Holy Smite or whatever, deal the 2 damage, trade in something, and get rid of their minion, and then you also might end up with a powerful minion, and then you also might not. Right. You might be switching attack with a 3 attack minion, and then you summon a 3/3/4. But now you can Potion of Madness and get a really solid madness in there, and so turn 4 you killed 2 of their minions.
It's a very specific utility.
It's very specific utility, but you're a priest, so that's all of your cards.
Yep. So we have the Spellstone for Priest.
Here's another
which
one.
is a 7 cost.
Very
Resurrect
specific
2 different
utility.
friendly minions. Cast 4 spells to upgrade, which then goes to, I believe it's 3 and 4 different friendly minions.
Yes, it is.
And I will double check
And this
that.
works really closely with the Dragon Soul
Yes.
because you need to have the forethought, the planning to be casting just a crap ton of spells.
Yes.
All the time. All at once. And then again. Lyra the Sunshard, of course, comes to mind as possibly the only way this deck could function. Because you need her. You
Yes.
need to have an infinite pool of spells to just keep playing.
Essentially.
But what is nice about this card is that resurrecting 2 different minions for 7 mana actually could be good enough depending on the minions that you had die. So if you're not a tempo deck, if you're some crazy Barnes, Yosh, pull shit out of my
if
deck.
you've only killed Lyra, you get a
that
bunch
too,
of Lyra.
right? Yeah, if it's just Lyra and Radiant that's died, I mean, it's a pretty ridiculous duel that you're having here. But if that has happened, you just summon them back. It's a weird option to put in a deck like that, and that's the deck it has to be in because of the upgrade condition. But if you can get it all off, and this is like most of the Spellstones, not something you're going to get off. You're not going to upgrade it and have it be functional very often at all. That's why we don't like them very much. But if you can, this is really good when you do.
Yep.
It'll just be very difficult.
All right,
And
so
possibly not.
This is pretty
applicable.
amazing. 4/3/3
Yeah,
Dragon
not
Tag,
difficult.
Dustbreaker, Battlecry
We're
for
gonna
holding
see
a
some Dragon
dragon,
Priest at some
deal
point.
3 damage to all
'Cause
other
boom.
minions.
Yeah.
This is doing what all of the major control cards do at half the cost.
Yeah.
It is so good.
And the guy that's still alive, you then take his attack with the other card.
But this is just, a very solid, good dragon card, which is fine. I like
good.
dragon decks.
It casts Hellfire, except it doesn't hit you, and you also get a minion, and whoa.
Yeah, that's a
so
lot. So
Again, Priest is just a better class than Warlock.
Yeah, so we have the 3-cost Twilight's Call rare spell. Summon 1/1 copies of 2 friendly Death Rattle minions that died
Rattle.
this game.
So that's really specific. Like I said, you're a Priest. All your cards are very specific.
Yes.
Friendly Death Rattle minions that die this game, of course, again, Obsidian Statue is, first thing we all think of. But you don't need it to be that strong. It really could just be a Loot Hoarder or an Egg Napper. I mean, just really solid tempo and a tempo Priest to just be playing. You play in your minions, you play a couple Death Rattles, and then you drop this down on 3 or 4 or 5, and
I'm actually going to jump in order
that.
here just to show that there is 1 Death Rattle minion that's being added for Priest, and it
that's that
can
coin I
work
mentioned.
with those spells that we've
Cast a
been
lot of
talking
spells.
about, which is
Get an extra-
3/2/2 Gilded
Yeah.
Gargoyle, Death Rattle, out of coin to your hand, so that gets you spells that get you spells so that you can try to do what the weapon and what the Spellstone want you to do.
And it's not a counterfeit coin, so you will be able to deposit it into your ATM.
Yes, it is. You can bite down, and it is
And it's the
legitimate
same thing,
gold.
except it's different.
All right, so we have the unidentified elixir.
Not identified yet. It actually
give
is a little bit.
minion
You can see it's actually it's kind of like
+2.
See it? You see it was you can actually it's blue. We already know it's blue.
I got it. Well,
we didn't know
sometimes.
anything about them all.
All right.
No, it's never blue. That's
It's
the
always
thing.
a 3-cost. Always gives you +2/+2
It's never blue.
for a minion. But you can also get Death Rattle. Return this minion to your hand.
Boop.
You can give it Lifesteal, Divine Shield, or summon a 1/1 copy of it.
Bink.
This one is slightly more limited. It doesn't have a "oops, I don't have the board for some reason" situation.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's very powerful. It's a good little buff.
It's another
card.
Tempo Priest card, and we've actually seen plenty of those. They kind
The
of
problem is
slow,
that
they're
you're
kind of
going to
speeding
want
Priest up a little
something
bit.
more than the
They're
others.
kind of bringing Priest back to turn 3 instead of the turn 7, 8, 9 that he is and usually is.
Yeah.
He is now and usually is. Tempo Priest has always been around. We've always had Interfire. So this is
the options that you get. I feel
cool.
like excuse me.
Most of them are good. Some of them are a little
different,
targeted.
but there are
There's,
there are 2 or 3 of them that
Death Rattle
might
synergies
not
in
be
there?
a situation that you have come up in your duel. It might be just too useless, or just like, oh yeah, it has Divine Shield, that doesn't do anything.
That could, absolutely, it could
it's gonna
be
get
pretty
kill carded, so
pretty frustrating. But 2 Death Rattle synergies. So going back to that previous card we looked at, where you are summoning 1/1 copies of Death Rattles that you had, then you can also unidentified elixir on them, and then also return another 1/1 copy.
like
back
I
to
said,
your
but
hand.
if that's what you're doing, then you
Summon
just
1/1 copy
want
extra.
the Death Rattle one, and you
True.
don't care about
you don't care.
Lifesteal or
The Divine Shield would be.
That's what I feel. It's very prohibitive within itself.
But I like it. I think it's good. I actually kind of like it a little more than them all, just because
I like them all more.
I don't know. I like buffs.
So,
like
one
buffs.
cost Psionic Probe, a common spell
Psionic
Probe. Copy a spell in your opponent's deck
Yeah.
and add it to your hand.
So this is Mind Vision,
This
but
is
it's in their
more
deck.
play, way too many
So
spells
now,
to get some effects for
now they play at least Starseeker, Trailblazer, and then you can get their whichever the one that gives the Agoro pack,
it. Yeah,
not the monkey.
that's Trailblazer.
Well, I guess you could get the monkey.
At least Starseeker gives you the
map.
monkey.
So you get the map.
Yeah, the map.
This is dumb.
Yep.
I
But if
personally,
you're trying to play a whole bunch of spells, it's cheap. And
yeah,
it's
absolutely. I
spell.
personally think Mind Vision is largely.
You know
gonna be a
what?
better
They should
option.
get some cards that say if you don't have any minions in your deck, fill your hand with 100
Oh my
spells.
god, that would be
priest spells.
so good in Hunter.
So we are done with Priest.
yeah.
Priest got some cool dragon stuff, some weird spell stuff.
Very
and
targeted.
Is still
Almost
very
all
good.
building around the exact same deck. So I think, unlike every other class, we might actually see some of these cards relatively soon.
Yeah.
Because they all kind of build one deck
Yes.
in a bubble.
So now we have the 3/2/2 legendary, which I love. Cheap rogue legendaries. Sonya, Shadow Dancer.
I just love rogue.
After
rogue.
a friendly minion
rogue.
dies, add a 1/1 copy of it to your hand. It costs 1. Where is the perma stealth?
Rogue.
I want perma stealth to
Rogue.
give to minions because this card is so
rogue.
cool.
Is she a gnome? She looks like a gnome.
No, I think she's a human.
Oh, she looks short.
Yeah. The
Anyway,
most
but her
offensive
daggers
class.
are. I guess
Or
they're
race.
just huge daggers. They're just like comically large daggers. Anyway, not to talk too much
it's
about this
World of
card.
Warcraft.
I fucking love it. Holy shit! Charge minions just keep happening. 1/1 copies of combos like Toast.
Gadget Zan.
Gadget Sand. I don't even care. Every minion in my deck. Firefly tokens. Fuck it. I want all my minions in my hand as 1/1 copies.
It's all very
So thank
good.
you.
Then we have King's Bane, Death Rattle. Shuff this into your deck. It keeps.
It's almost
any
like Rogue is
enchantments.
just the coolest, best, most interesting
this
class.
is. I'm going to say everything that we need to say about this.
Okay.
It's fucking overpowered. We're gonna move on. It really is. It gets everything that you could ever possibly want, and it has all the stats you could possibly want, and then more. It is
So fucking
super
good.
good, and it is
So
super
fucking good.
control.
And we're gonna see synergy with it.
Anti-fatigue.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Just don't give it durability.
put it on, swing it.
All right.
Put it on and swing it.
Now we have the
Keep doing it.
4/4 Faldori
Never stop.
Strider, Epic Minion, Battlecry Shuffle 3 Ambushers into your deck when drawn. Summon a 4/4 Spider.
So you put shit in your
this
deck
is
and then you
like-
draw
yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
And then shit happens.
Yeah.
Shit.
More potential mill, more potential control.
Yeah.
This is all around
There's
very
just a lot of
good.
stuff. You can just get lucky and just
I
draw one
love
immediately
putting
and then it's
stuff
good tempo.
in decks. It always
Yeah.
is fun.
Because fuck your deck.
Yeah. All right. So we now have the 2-cost Evasion Epic Spell. Secret, sorry.
Secret. You're a rogue and you have secrets. You're a secret rogue.
Yes.
They
So
think you're a mage. But
I'm
you're
going
not.
to
You're a
assume
rogue.
that the way this works is it does not put a secret icon on your hero, because then there's only one secret. We'll know exactly what it is and what the effect is.
And right now, that is true.
But is that what it does?
Well, no.
No.
Because we're
Okay.
going to get to the second secret, and then there will be 2 secrets.
Oh, really? There's a second secret?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Damn it. I thought there was only one.
No.
I still think this way. I still think that they shouldn't have secrets, that it should just be an actual effect that just kind of goes off.
Almost like a
But-
trap card?
Yeah. All right. I guess that mechanically it's got some
I mean, I
issues
played
there.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway,
Just like don't
talk
show
about,
the mana
to talk
going
about
down.
this card and not other things. Rogue Secrets cost the same amount as Hunter Secrets. They are 2 costs. This is epic. It says after your hero takes damage, you become immune this turn. So it's not Ice Block, but it's like Ice Block, but it's not Ice Block. So it does not save you. If you are dead, you die. But if you're not dead, you remain not dead until subsequent turn has been taken by you and your opponent goes
And
again.
this
and kills
is going
you.
to reveal
So,
some weird turn order things from the developer.
it's pretty
side,
huge.
I think.
Well, it's pretty huge. One thing that you have to understand, though, is that having evasion into evasion, unlike Ice Block and Ice Block, may not help you at all. Because if you have 10 health and they have 5 damage, they hit you, your evasion activates, you
Yes.
play evasion, and then they hit you, and you're dead. So you have to be really careful and in misplaying this card. Don't play it too late, don't play it too early. Because if you play it when you're at 20
No,
health,
I think
it doesn't do
overall
anything.
this
If
is
you play it
a
when you're at
very
5 health, it doesn't do anything.
Weak secret.
I love it.
I don't.
I love it. Because it's rogue, and I love it.
So we have the Rogue Spellstone, the Lesser Onyx Spellstone.
We've been talking about rogue secrets for so long, and now you're disappointed? You just can't... You just don't know how to be happy.
Destroy one random enemy minion, which then goes up to 3 random enemy minions.
1, 2, 3.
Which is good. Play 3 Death Rattle cards. You're already going to do
3 Vile
that.
Spine Slayers in 1 turn normally.
This is a very strong stone
yeah,
card.
One of the stronger spell stones. Playing 3 Death Rattles in a turn, or not in a turn. Playing 3 Death Rattle cards in a game, actually, is already, while this is in your hand, is already actually kind of a lot to ask for. But then it's destroying 2 minions for 5 mana. I just made fun of Crushing Walls saying it was overcosted because this isn't overcosted. If you can get this upgraded 1 time, destroying 2 minions for 5 mana is actually where you want it to be and could be absolutely amazing if they have the Lich King and other minion on their board. Because just killing the Lich King for 5 mana was totally worth it. And then you got other minion too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can kill Dr. Boom and the Boom.
And it's not combo, so as good as Vile Spine Slayer is, this card could come up as better in some circumstances.
So next we have the 4/3/3 Kobold Illusionist Death Rattle. Summon a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand.
Ain't that cool though? It's Death Rattle. Now the fact that it's Death Rattle does make it a little hard to understand in the essence that you won't necessarily know what's in your hand when this dies. So you can't just drop this down and have this OP crazy thing come out of your hand, because you might drop it down and then need to play that OP crazy thing to not die, and now it's not in your hand anymore. It kind of almost feels...
draw to water down what your
or you draw and you get some piece of shit.
There's a lot.
It kind of feels like a Alarmobot, but at the same time, I think it's a very runnable, very less polarizing Alarmobot.
This
because
is
of the
for
1/1
when you're
copy,
running Death Rattle and Infinite Effect kind of decks, which Rogue should be.
Yeah, well, because you can get Sonya, Shadow Dancer, down as a 1/1 copy when your opponent didn't expect it, and now you just have her down.
Yep.
Now you can play her and trade the 1/1 copy and get a new 1/1 copy of her in your hand. And
though, of course, playing against it, you should plan to kill the 1/1.
Yeah.
So moving on, we do have the 4/3/2 Elven Minstrel combo. Draw 2 minions from your deck.
So I actually already mentioned on this stream and on previous streams and IRL, if you see me on the street, the rogues don't draw a lot of cards, and they draw in weird bursts, crazy gadget stand combos, or they don't draw a lot, or sprint combo, crazy. They draw all at once, and then they're done drawing. This is like a solid tempo draw. It feels like Shiv, but it's even more cards. I love it. Yeah. And look at him. He's so proud of himself. Yep. He's like, I'm a rogue, but I draw cards.
Solid little minion. Okay. We also have Cheat Death, the 2-cost common secret. When a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand, and it costs 2 less. That 2 less makes it
Remember Sonya Shadow Dancer? Yeah, she's still here. She's back in my hand. She only costs me 1. Lovely.
3rd secret.
Yeah.
All right. Then we have Sudden Betrayal. I don't know why all these secrets weren't next to each other. Sudden Betrayal secret. When a minion attacks your hero, instead attacks one of its neighbors.
Boom.
Ow. Those.
Yeah. So I like this secret a lot because even though your opponent can play around it, they can't play around it because each minion might have 2 neighbors and you don't know which one it will be. And they may just not want any of their minions to attack each other, which means that they're playing around it, similar to Freezing Trap, is to just do nothing, which isn't necessarily...
See, this is what I want out of Evasion, though, is protecting my hero.
Yeah.
And I feel like Evasion doesn't really do it.
Protects you.
Yes.
Unless it doesn't, and then you're dead.
All right, and then we have a minion, the 2-cost, 3 attack, 1 health, battlecry, draw a weapon from your deck. You know that weapon? That really, really crazy weapon? Now it's in your hand.
And it's got like 8/8.
Oh, it's a 1 cost?
I've been buffing it. I just keep playing 1/1 copies of Greenskin, and I have so many stats on that one weapon, and I just keep drawing it. And then you keep Harrisoning it, and it doesn't matter, because I just keep drawing it and killing you with the same weapon. You are dead. Rogue is the best class. Our overview for Rogue, to wrap up Rogue. Rogue is the best, most fun class. You should only play Rogue. Don't put Keyless Death in your deck.
All right. We haven't gotten to Warlock yet, so I'll allow that to stand for now. We're going to move on to Shaman here. Shaman has the 8-cost Rune Spear. 3 attack, 3 durability. After your hero attacks, discover a spell and cast it with random target. I have been, I guess, more critical. Stop it. More critical than the average person about Rune Spear because I do not like random targeting spells. Discover does help, but I don't know. I wish it were more powerful, especially considering how expensive it was and how you can only do this 3 times, whereas other ones have infinite value.
It's not infinite.
It's just
it costs
not
a crap ton.
Interesting.
But only discover Volcano, and you're going to love this weapon. Just keep playing Volcano.
All right, and his legendary minion is the 6/7/7 Grumble World Shaker. Battle Cry, return your other minions to your hand, and they cost 1. And this is obviously for playing crazy battle cries, for playing elementals, for trying to get as many different crazy stupid
or just
effects.
returning a ton of Serenite chain
or maybe
to your hand.
maybe you run unstable whatever and you want to get a whole bunch of overload done. Maybe you can just
might just want more overload.
Maybe you can break the world record.
This card
for
is
overload.
really interesting at 6/7/7, and then what I don't consider to be a negative battle cry, it just seems very strong. But of course, there are a lot of ways you can consider that to be a negative battle cry. It totally depends on the board state and how well you've been controlling the board up to this point. But if you've done it well and you've got those strong battle cries down, which Shaman has many of, you're not incredibly concerned with the what might be a massive tempo loss of having a 3, 4, 5 minion wide board that you are taking away from yourself, because those battle cries could all deal face damage. They could be fire elementals and blaze collars and that basic card that deals like 3 damage to your opponent's face for 5/4/4. And then you play this, you lose tempo, your opponent starts smashing you in the face because Grumble doesn't have taunt, and then they're dead. And it's an elemental, so your blaze collars are active, which is really important.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting elemental combo, mid-range win condition. Yeah. So I like this card.
And cards that you want to play with him, here's one of them, Battle Cry. If you control all 4 basic totems, summon Alakir the Windlord. It doesn't matter what his stats.
Hilarious. This is hilarious. You just have all the 4 basic totems, so this is a very, it reminds me of Mimiron's Head. It's very silly, but it doesn't get rid of the totems, so it's not like Mimiron's Head in that you actually could play this multiple times, not only because it's a 5 cost and you can afford it twice in one turn.
Or you can play your Drakari Enchanter and get 2 Alakir the Windlords because it does double... you need to double your battle cries. You were thinking of Bran Bronzebeard, but actually Shaman is, as we will see soon, getting a 2-cost card that allows you to double your battle cries. So you could get multiple Alakir the Windlords. You don't need that. You're being greedy and rude. But good card.
It's a good card. And it's funny. And you probably won't get all 4 basic totems very much. So it's actually not a good card, and you shouldn't run it.
1 cost Unstable Evolution. Epic spell, Unstable Evolution. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. Repeatable this turn, so that means that you could spend up to full 10 mana.
Yeah, again, you're very greedy, and I don't appreciate your attitude toward Hearthstone. Player.
This is a very interesting kind of card. I'm sure Rick will
just keep rolling. Like, you rolled Tyrion. Why did you roll it again to Ysera? That was a complete waste of your 1 mana.
Yep.
You're being ridiculous. That card seems to be insane.
We're going to see people misplay it all the time at rank 15 and
you got to know when to stop rolling. But you can start hitting other minions. I mean, you roll up your 5-cost to Tyrion, and then you move on to your other 5-cost to get him to Ysera. You don't need to get all Yseras. You don't need to get all 8/8s.
We also have the Lesser Sapphire Spellstone. 7-cost, summon 1 copy of a friendly minion. Overload 3 mana crystals to upgrade. Then summon 2 copies.
So if you just on turn 6 spent all 6 of your mana upgrading your 2-cost to Tyrion, you then on turn 7 can get a second Tyrion. And that's all this card does.
This card is not good. I don't like it. I do not at all like it.
I don't think there's much more to say. I mean, it's not... I don't think it's terrible, but I agree I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's for a strategy that can't function as long as Priest is a hero, which he is. And I'm not just talking about Shadowy Brandwin. He just got Psychic Scream. So Priest and Warrior... clearing your whole board at the drop of a hat isn't going anywhere anytime soon. That's a basic part of their class. So summoning a full board of stuff that doesn't quite kill your opponent isn't enough.
So we have the Primal Talismans, 3-cost spell, give your minions Death Rattle, summon a random basic totem.
And now
this works out with that guy who wants to summon the Alakir.
But also just getting a lot of spell damage.
I really like the totems. I really like stuff that is based around the totems. I think that's really cool. I like the healing. I like the spell damage. I like.
We still have Primal Fusion in the game, so you might actually be getting a board full, 3, 4, 5 basic totems, and you might think, yeah, that's great, but they don't have any attack. I have one that has 1/1 and that's it. Well, you could Primal Fuse.
Yeah.
And if you have 4 or 5 basic totems, that's give 4/4. You can just give it to a basic totem. You don't even need to.
Right. And this does let you use your Death Rattles to break through the hero power cap on basic totems, which is nice.
Yes, because it is random.
Yep.
And not
so we have a 2-cost rare
fixed.
minion, the Murmuring Elemental with 1 attack, 1 health, battle cry. Your next battle cry triggers twice this turn. So this is the one that turn 7 you're going to combo with your
multiple Alakirs.
Your Stormcaller and try to get the multiple Alakirs.
No, Murmuring Elemental has way more implication than just multiple Alakirs, of course. Doubling battle cries, we've seen with Brand's Bondbeard. One of the really important things to understand is how few times you play Brand Bronzebeard and then you play multiple battle cries that turn, or he survives till your next turn. That you typically play Brand and then a battle cry that's really strong, and he was a 3-cost, and then that's it. It's all you got out of him, and it was totally worth it. He was an amazing card. So to have this as a 2-cost, to have it not need other elementals to function, it's incredibly strong.
Yeah.
But also, it's an elemental. So it also functions with elementals, which have really strong battle cries.
I mean, you can combo it with the legendary minion that's released this set, and you can get
So you
2
can
of
put this-
each minion
exactly.
in your hand that costs 1.
Maybe, because it's return. So maybe not. It's return. It's
Or
not
he
copies.
would return himself?
It's not copies. He might return himself. Depends on the order. I don't think he'd return himself, but I think that you'd only get 1 copy of each. But you get your Murmuring Elemental back, and that would make you feel good. No,
That's true.
But certainly, I think any kind of shaman can run this card and have some strong battle cards. I mean, just Doppelgangster in your upgrade shaman, summoning so many copies of Doppelgangster. You get five costs. But also Elemental attacks can use this really well. It's a great card. And it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And he's all like, he's going to punch you with sound.
Yeah. Don't confuse it for the when you die, deal 3 damage.
Yeah, because that is less good.
Then
and
we
not a
have
battle cry.
Healing Rain, common spell, restore 12 health, divided randomly among all friendly characters.
So
this is kind of a fun way to heal.
It's so fun, and it's so cheap. I mean, if you have no minions, it's actually cheaper than Greater Healing Potion, one of the most value tempo, just solid draw cards in Hearthstone. Heal cards, sorry. Draw cards. I mean, draw 12 cards randomly split among
Yeah.
No, but
My minion has a hand.
Greater Healing Potion being such an incredible card for healing yourself when you are low, and this is actually 1 mana cheaper, but with the condition that you have no minions on your board when you play it.
Yes.
That hurts. That hits hard. It hits Shaman particularly hard because of all those totems you've been summoning, trying to get Alakir down.
But your totems probably are healthy. Your totems probably are keeping themselves healthy.
But it doesn't matter.
Well, it's only restoring where it can restore. It's not going to heal full. Yeah, absolutely.
Divided randomly.
Restore. You can't restore minions who are not wounded.
Maybe.
This is going to be targeted. I think this is a very good top you off. No, this is restore 12 health divided randomly among all.
Well, if you're correct, and you very well may be, then
I think that this is a solid, potentially targetable.
Well, then that's just amazing. Why did we even discuss it? It's amazing. Put it in your deck.
It's amazing.
Why are you still sitting there not putting that in your deck?
All right, so we have a 2/1/1 Kobold Hermit. Love the Kobolds. Look at all those candles. Battle Cry. Choose a basic totem. Summon it. This is really awesome because how often are you sitting there like, man, I really need a taunt. I need a taunt. I need a spell totem.
Maelstrom.
I want to heal so I don't get executed. Here you go.
Yeah. So good. So versatile.
You can now play it with Baron Geddon to guarantee that you have 2 healing and never die because they haven't fixed the interaction yet. Because they heal after him and they heal themselves because they're not
from dead.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, very fun card, very good card. Properly costed. It's actually not that strong by itself. You do need the totem. If you're just putting this down, you're going to be disappointed.
Yes. But very solid nonetheless. And of course, you do get 2 of it if you do the other guy. Yeah. So we have the Crushing Hand, 2-cost spell, deal 8 damage to a minion, overload 3. So this
is another
remember
D&D
Flame
reference?
Lance?
Yeah.
Flame Lance wasn't very good. This is better, but it's overload, so it's not. Give up turn 3 to save yourself from that 8
we still have Eternal Sentinel. So you could clear the overload.
Yes.
You could potentially work with that overload. I think as an overload synergizing card, I agree that overload is a lot of overload. But as an overload synergizing card, and as a more or less destroy a minion as its text, this does seem... You don't play this on 2. You didn't need 8 damage on 2. So yeah, you're never going to have your turn 3 ruined by this card because you didn't play it on 2. You should play this on 6, 7, 8, when you still get to pretty much take your full turn the next turn. You get to still play an Earth Elemental or your Snow Fury Giant that you reduced because you played this card. It's not an obviously good card, but with a proper overload deck that may or may not be able to function yet, we might need more new cards from future sets. This card would be in a properly functioning overload deck an incredibly strong card because this is 2 cost down on Hex. And there's not much more to say. You kill their minion.
Right.
Unless it's a 4/12 dragon, in which case you should have brought Hex. What are you doing?
All right, so that's everything for Shaman. Overall, they have a whole lot of Battlecry and Elemental synergy, and it's very good and
a lot of strong
powerful.
Shaman cards. Spellstone was relatively weak
chunky
compared
stuff.
to the other cards and to the other Spellstones.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
we're going to move on to a real
nice job,
class.
Shaman. You're still not Rogue, but nice job.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the most powerful class in the game.
With the most worthless legendary.
Okay.
So yeah, right.
This is
nice class. Where are your 1/1 copies?
You want to talk about how many Goldens in one?
I don't.
So
I don't wanna talk about
6/3,
that.
so not good. Rin, the first disciple. Taunt, Death Rattle, add. I like that it's even Death Rattle. Like, no, wait.
Right, no, wait.
Add
You're
the
waiting
first
for
seal to
this.
your hand. There's something like 700 seals.
Yeah,
And
762.
so, on turn 84.
85.
85.
Yeah, you gotta wait till 85.
85. You and your Dead Man's Hand warrior that you've been facing off against perpetually.
He's at 900
You
armor.
can delete
His
all
whole-
but one of his Dead Man hands because
Right.
he's holding one.
Then he plays Dead Man's Hand. He still has a deck. Still has a deck and 900 armor.
This is bad, but it's hilarious. And if you find a way to make this work and viable in ranked better than like rank 10, please tell Blizzard they will hand you money.
Yeah, they just give you money.
You will be a commentator immediately. You will have a
Yeah.
full job. This card is so fun. And
But
you
yeah,
know what?
think
Sometimes
Ancient
I
One
don't
levels
care.
of silliness.
I don't really care a lot about what is a powerful card all the time. As long as overall the class has powerful options and they can be viable, that's fine. And then they can have these goofy cards. And I think that's totally
Warlock
fine.
loves goofy, useless cards.
Yes,
Blizzard
we do.
will not actually give you any money.
You don't know that. All right, so we have
guess I
the
don't know
legendary weapon, 503 Skull
So
of
our
the Minari.
third caster weapon.
At the start of your turn, summon a demon from your hand. Voidwalkers. No, not Voidwalkers. You want big
you want
minions, pit
you
fiends.
want Voidwalkers summoning Voidwalkers. You want Void Runners.
Yeah, you
Which
want
we'll see here in a
void briskly, jogging people. You want
Skull of
void
Minari is
lords.
probably the best of the caster weapons. Probably the most well
Balanced?
well adjusted, well costed weapon. But still, it's start of your turn. Your opponent has ample opportunity based on the cost and the effect to destroy this before anything happens. And even if it takes them a couple turns, if you're holding a couple of beasts you don't want it to summon, or demons that you don't want it to summon, and a couple that you do want it to summon, just like the entirety of the discard warlock strategy, you might hit the wrong one too many times, then your opponent destroys it, and you wasted a whole bunch of time. You could have been playing Seals for Rin the Disciple.
All right.
So here's that Void Runner we mentioned.
So we have the Void Lord 9/3/9 taunt, Death Rattle summon 3/1/3 demons with taunt. This is so much
three
value.
Void Walkers stacked on top of each other for 3 times the cost. That would be with 3
just in a trench
Void
coat,
Walkers
trying to get into a movie.
Yeah, then you knock them down like the wobbling rods.
And
this card is ridiculous, but if you get it out with Skull of the Minari, it was actually it's actually awesome.
Yeah, no,
For 9
it's
mana,
super
it's
amazing.
pretty weak.
I do like it.
I love this
I
card.
like it even
I love
on
this.
curve.
I love most of the cards
Cataclysm.
with yelling kobolds on
So
them.
this is
But this one in particular.
This is
right
a card
here.
where you get Deathwing, but only pay for his battle cry.
Exactly.
You destroy all minions,
the best
discard
part of
your
Deathwing.
hand. So this is
You
a
don't need the
whole lot of
12-12.
discard.
Who
If
needs
you're
a
looking
12-12?
to discard,
And you are.
if you want to do a discard lock,
And
you
you
can
do.
say, hey, I'm going to discard this whole thing in one card. I don't need to
Gone.
bring discard
On
synergy.
curve quest.
You bring your
completion,
one
turn in,
discard
done.
legendary, you throw away a whole hand, and your
Clutch
quest is
Mother.
completed.
Yeah.
And then at turn 5, you play your portal, and you have imps for the rest of
I
the
agree.
duel.
Because I want to see that fire raining down on those kobolds. I want to see them screaming in pain and love for the discard. Yes.
So very good for discard.
It's
lock.
almost Astral Communion for discard warlock.
Yes. So then we have
Turn
the
4,
5/2/2
Cold
Death Rattle recruit demon.
So recruit, our favorite keyword.
Recruit
in
is so
Hearthstone,
expensive.
combined with a 5/2/2, our favorite stat line in Hearthstone.
According to Druid, recruit costs 4 for a tag.
yeah,
I can get a Void Walker and pay 4 for it.
yeah. Well,
That's
Warrior says it
obnoxious.
costs 6.
Yeah.
So this is only paying 3, but it's a demon. I don't know. Obviously, we just saw that really hulking demon a couple cards ago. there are already some hulking demons in Hearthstone, and if you don't hit your Voidwalker, Flame Imp, Blood Imp, Succubus, many small demons that exist that you for some reason put in your deck when you were running this, idiot, then you could get almost the proper tempo out of this, because he's a 5/2/2. I mean, you basically are paying up front for getting Voidlord, because if you don't get Voidlord, you paid up front, you got a 3-cost demon. You don't feel good about that.
We don't like Recruit is basically what we're saying.
It's not good.
We wish it was
gotta get
better.
lucky. I don't want to have to
that's
get lucky.
okay. We do have a Spellstone that's not too awful. We also don't like Spellstones, but I do like this one because what it does is it's take damage from your cards, which all of the Warlock cards say that.
Well,
some of them say discard, which is more indirect take damage, but you're taking damage. But
it doesn't work with this hero power, which is weird.
Right.
We've seen a lot of Spellstones that do.
Yes,
somewhat
it does not work with the hero
This
power.
one's not.
Because it would be too easy.
It would be too easy.
But that does mean that you can have on turn 4 a lifesteal deal 7 damage to a minion, because it goes from 3 to 5 to 7, and it is all lifesteal.
I find it interesting that it's not an amount of damage. Like, it's not like take 3 damage from your cards. That you can just take 1 damage from your cards. You
Absolutely.
can just drop any card that mentions that it might hit your face, and you're done. And actually, I think Spreading Madness would pretty much guarantee fully upgrade this. As much of a joke as that would be, that you're running Spreading Madness. Because it's hitting you multiple times. So it might actually just
maybe.
be done.
Like, again, this is an interaction that we got to figure out.
Yeah. But that being said, yeah, I think that at many points in the duel, dealing Lifesteal 5 or Lifesteal 7 is going to be really pivotal.
This is Exhibit A, and this minion right here is Exhibit B of me believing that Warlock is the newer, cooler Shaman.
Yeah. Which puts it just below Rogue.
Ignore what you're reading. This is a 4/7/7 taunt.
Yeah. But actually, don't read anything. Just look at the art.
Yeah. This thing is scary. So it's Battlecry if you have less than 15 health. Sorry, 15 or less. Gain 3/3 and taunt.
Which we talked about years ago, about having a Warlock card that was 15 or less health, and how fun that would be. We talked about that so long ago.
And we have
here it
that
is.
now.
And this is what we want.
Which is awesome, because Molten Giant has been kind of non-existent for a while.
Beat yourself up, drop this
it.
boy down, play the Spellstone, and heal it back. And kill your opponent's minion.
Awesome.
And have a 7/7 taunt.
We also have the 2/2/4, another demon, Vulgar Homunculus, which I've never even seen as a Warcraft player. I've never even seen this art before. This is insane art.
Yeah.
But taunt, Battlecry, deal 2 damage to your hero. This is exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the deal damage to yourself with cards. Only a 2 cost, and you get the 2 extra health for it.
It seems solid. I mean, 2/2/4 taunt is like, that's awesome. But I feel almost like it's trying too hard to fit into the deal damage to your hero strategy, and that it's actually not that many stats, and it doesn't pay a whole lot. It's just deal 2 damage to your hero. It's not that much, but it just seems a little small.
Well,
but, I mean,
it's something that if you get it out, that's a huge taunt to get out if you have your weapon. And it's actually a fine one to get out. It's one of the low costs where you can have your curve correct and still run the weapon.
Voidwalker into this.
It definitely has its place.
It just seems small.
Then we have a Kobold Librarian slowly catching the books on him, or books behind him on fire.
Well,
1/1 Battlecry,
he's a fireman.
hero power. Yeah. For free.
Yeah, hero power for free. You play 1/1.
You take the 2.
So this kind of feels, this has the kind of the feeling of Babbling Book or Crystalline Oracle, where your 1-drop is basically just on the board for no cost. You just get it. You just get stats on the board on turn 1. They don't synergize with much. They're there, and that's a really nice feeling. It's something that's really strong against tempo-driven classes, especially really early game oriented, aggressive shamans and hunters who are really concerned when you drop this 1/1 or 2/1 on turn 1 that they have to deal with. They weren't expecting to have to deal with that.
Right.
And that'll really help you against that. Now, of course, this is hurting you, so it won't help you as much.
Right.
But you're a Warlock. You'll deal with it.
The spell on the final Warlock card is Dark Pact. 1 cost, destroy a friendly minion, restore 8 health to your hero.
So,
this is amazing.
Sack pack.
Yeah.
1 more mana, 3 more health. And you get to choose.
It doesn't need to be a demon.
It doesn't have to be a demon.
So this is
but it can't be your
really
opponent's
awesome.
minion, so that's something.
Well, this means you get to activate Death Rattles. This means that you get to do so much. The way that
it's really just the sheer amount of healing in one card. I was just talking about Greater Healing Potion being one of the largest sheer amount of healing right now in Hearthstone, and for 4 mana, totally worth it. So for 1 mana, more than worth it. It's not quite the 12 health of Healing Rain or Greater Healing Potion or that Druid card that gives you 12 armor, but 8 is kind of close enough. And if you combine this with the Spellstone, with Earthring Farseer, which is a couple of other heal cards, Misters and Mixtures, you're going to see you're surviving late into the duel because of cards like this. So this is a big deal.
All right, so that's Warlock. Warlock's really cool. Warlock is doing what is one of my favorite strategies that I've learned from Handlock back in the day, which I call bounce, which is take as much damage as you can and bounce back up and get the benefits of being
Start
low.
punching your wounds.
That kind of thing. And kind of go around so that if they're not prepared to get lethal, they miss it, and then you're back up, or
you're back up,
and just have not just a
really,
board control,
a good way to kind of toy with
control
with aggressive opponents who think I'm just going to kill him, I'm just going to kill him, and you're like I'm hurting myself, I'm gonna ha. A very good way to.
It's very. I actually
play a mid-range deck without sitting
exactly
at full health
once so far with it, and it's
cool.
So we're gonna move on to Warrior here with its legendary Geo Sculptor Yip 8/8. At the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor. It's bullshit. It's so good.
So right. So it is amazing. Now we've actually seen this kind of craziness in Warrior so many times. If a Warrior gets a card that costs 8 or more, it's just going to be so much value you can't even handle it. Like his hero, Rot Face, I mean, you just, the Varian Rin. If Warrior has a card that costs more than, no, I said 8 or more, like more than 5, more than Brawl, because even Brawl is a ton of value. It's just going to be so much value, and it's all about playing a Warrior in a way that you can last that long and play the card. And Warrior can do that. We've seen it before, so we know this card is viable. Having the armor might be hit or miss. It depends on the cards, in rotation for Warrior at the time, which right now have a lot of armor. And the meta around it, whether it's aggressive enough to keep stripping you of your armor. But what's important to understand here is it's at the end of your turn. So maybe you were stripped of your armor and you put this down and it died and you got nothing. But if you weren't, you put this down, you drop down another 8 cost beside it, let's say the Lich King, and then it survives. And then even if they could get to your armor to try to, mitigate this, they got your armor down to 3, you then get your turn to put your armor back on and get another 8, 9, 10 cost. So keeping this guy down is incredibly difficult, possibly impossible. You need to kill him, but he has 8 health.
And
so that's not
if you're doing what most Warriors do, which is, hey, it's turn 5, so I'm going to sit at 20 armor. It means you're getting to 10.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're at 10 or more, you should get at least one good. But you don't even need that much. And like I said, you put on the armor as it goes. So you've got to kill Yip fast. But unlike Rotface, that's not easy. He has 8 health.
So we do have the weapon, the 8/3/3 Woe Cleaver. After your hero attacks, recruit a minion. It can pull out the Geo Sculptor. But other than that, it's just too expensive. We want to be able to choose our minions after.
It's very
turn 8.
odd. I just talked about
because it's not like above 4 cost.
I just talked about the very expensive, very value-oriented Warrior minions, and this is supposed to pull them out of your deck. But keyword there is supposed to pull them out of your deck. If it just pulls out your Armor Smiths, you spent 8 mana on an Armor Smith and 3 damage. That's the first turn. The second turn, you spent no mana on 3 damage and an Armor Smith. It still isn't worth it.
We can safely say, I think, that this one, even if somehow a deck uses it, nobody's going to be dusting for
if recruit
it's not
said hand or deck, or something that would allow you to draw Geo Sculptor, draw Rot Face, draw Grom, and not get completely ruining this weapon, then I would say that's okay. But you could, it's late game, you're waiting for your little minions to get out of your deck, and your big ones come first, it's just ruined. Okay, you don't wait, you swing it, and your little ones come out, and it's ruined. It's so easy to ruin it, and it's so hard to not ruin it, and I don't,
So we have the 3-cost epic spell, Reckless Flurry. Spend all your armor, deal that much damage to all minions. So this would be cool.
Look at him. He's swinging his armor.
I would have loved for this to be more expensive and allow us to retain armor. I do not like that we have to give up armor.
I agree.
Especially because, like I said, we sit at like 20 plus armor and we can't
This
give
card
up that much.
is not easy to use. You need to know how to use your armor. What I would say, however, barring the extremes where it's terrible, you have no armor and you have no way to get it more than your hero power, or you have, well, actually, if you've turned into Garrosh Death Knight, then you actually don't even have your hero power. But you have no armor, no way to get it. or you have so much armor it's not worth wasting it. But what I would say is that that might actually... So you need to play this in the middle ground. And there might be a lot of middle ground. If your opponent has 20 damage on board, it would behoove you to spend your 20 armor to clear the damage. Because you're going to lose that armor either way. And then you're not going to get another chance to play this card. And you're not going to have killed their minions. So...
My issue is just that it can be a dead card.
Absolutely.
So
the fact that it can be a dead card at the under and the over is scary to put it in the deck. But I think if it's in your deck and you have the cards to work with it, to put on the armor, to be able to surprise your opponent, shield, block, Reckless Flurry, and deal 5 all, you're almost brawling for 1 more mana. You know, you're killing a board of 5 health minions and drawing a card for 6 mana. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
But also,
and it's not targeted against enemies.
Oh, yeah.
It's
not targeted against enemies, but I think...
Meanwhile, this card, this is an armor card that I think is much better.
Another
I like
armor
the
synergy
this.
card.
This is almost too cheap.
They really want us to run Ironhide. That's what this card needs. Put Ironhide
Bladed
in your deck.
Gauntlet has attack equal to your armor, but you can't attack heroes. So this is
Ironhide.
just, you guarantee yourself board control, essentially.
So
it's very
what's
good.
complicated about this card, what's difficult, is you are going to be losing that armor when you use it. So the second swing on Bladed Gauntlet is almost always going to be weaker than the first swing.
Right.
Because you're going to pull it out with 17 armor, you're going to kill the Lich King, now you're at 9 armor, then you hero power and swing it for 11. And if anything else happens in those interactions, like, I don't know, your opponent
No.
hits
It's a warrior mirror who played the 2-cost 0/7 taunt. And
and you just
out of the way.
Yeah. But yeah, by and large, it's actually going to be difficult late in a duel to get 2 Bladed Gauntlet swings because unlike a card like Gorehowl, it won't maintain its attack if you get the value out of it you want.
This is the first weapon where it's not a legendary, there's no gimmick to it, it's just simply worth running. You know, not for an OTK reason, but it's worth running.
It really reminds me of Gorehowl, but it's 2-cost.
Upgrade specifically. Getting that extra attack with this weapon is a very significant
it feels a lot like Gorehowl, where upgrade's really powerful. I agree. It feels like Gorehowl. It's another epic, and it's a 2-cost. So it's solid, but you probably won't use it much on turn 2.
So we have a Spellstone. We have the Lesser Mithril Spellstone, a 7-cost summon 1/5/5 Mithril.
That's going to go up to 2 5/5s and 3 5/5s.
Yes.
It's going to go up each time you equip a weapon. In your hand,
it's going to happen.
You're equipping weapons.
This should be very, very much so a curved out card.
Yeah.
It should be almost... this is one where I'd say run it and play your 3/5/5s.
But if it's not a curved out card, those Mithril Golems don't have anything going on except 5/5.
Yes.
So if you're playing this late in a duel, either your opponent has used all of his board wipes and you are using it as your win condition, or you're just using this to bait board wipes. Mm-hmm. Both can work. When you have cards like Geosculptor or Rotface, it's actually really important that you bait their brawls and they're relatively large, their psychic screams, whatever. But it's a little to have the conditions that sometimes it won't be all 3 5/5s, and it's always 7 mana. It's a little odd, only because I don't know. It's got so much. It's so big. It's so big that to have this as the just summon 1/5/5 is so bad, so bad that you do need to work with this a little bit. You might need to put one more weapon in your deck than you were comfortable with previously in order to ensure that it continues to work. Mm-hmm. So it's a Spellstone.
So. But this is still bad.
Yeah,
this is really bad. 6 cost to randomly put a mini. Nope, don't do it. That is bad.
Well,
why would you put this in your deck?
Well, think Shadow Essence, except for it doesn't always have 5/5.
No, it's just bad.
It's a miss with cards like Armorsmith.
It's just bad.
And Alley Armorsmith, and yeah.
So we have the 3/4/4 Kobold Barbarian at the start of your turn. Attack a random enemy. This is hilarious.
Absolutely
I really
hilarious.
enjoy this.
Grog has come into Hearthstone.
Yeah.
As a kobold. But 3/4/4, yeah. At the start of your turn, I wish it was at the end of your turn, just so you can immediately attack. But then I guess that's just 3/4/4 charge if they don't have any minions. But if they do have minions, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that wouldn't be unfair. Kor'kron Elite with 1 less cost, 1 less health, or 1 more health, but you don't get to choose that it goes face. Seems kind of fine to me, but it almost is because it'll charge out starting on your turn. Oh wait.
The idea is that the opponent has a turn to kind of try.
I didn't think of that, but it attacked on your turn. That just came to me. I don't know why I didn't think of that the first time I read this. So you don't get to ever choose who this attacks.
Ooh, maybe that's what they mean by.
Pretty sure because it attacked on your turn now.
Yeah,
he doesn't have Wind Fairy.
That'd be interesting.
So maybe he's terrible, but he's still funny. Yeah. Who cares?
All right, so we have the unidentified shield for warrior, 6 cost, gain 5 armor, gain a bonus effect in the hand, which
you'd think based on the art that this was the best unidentified. But certainly it strikes me as the worst.
So the bonuses you can get are gain 10 armor, deal 5 damage, summon a 5/5 golem, or equip a 5/2 weapon. Yeah. So that
Arcanite
means
plus armor
it
high.
is just balanced. It's just 2 cards meshed together. That's all it is. And that's fine.
So
though actually technically
armor.
you're missing a draw. But on some things... there's...
gain 15 armor, you can double bash, you can put on Arcanite and cast Ironhide. You can play what is effectively a Ironforge portal. It's kind of... It's a bunch of different other cards, and you don't know which one you're going to get, and they're all pretty good. Yeah. And there aren't a lot of situations where you don't want one of them. I'd say probably the biggest one would be the gain 15 armor, because even though 6 mana for gaining 15 armor is that's a ton of armor, and it's not overcosted, but you might be in a situation where you really needed to kill their minion, and now their minion's just going to take all that armor back off you,
right?
Because you didn't kill it.
Because you got to keep in mind, this is not Molten Blade. These effects are not rotating. Yeah. It's just one time.
In your hand.
You get the one you don't want.
If you grab armor,
so really it is. Yeah, armor's kind
of. You're now
of
in an emergency of oh man, I need to kill their minion, and this didn't do it.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the gem-studded golem.
This will help kill their minion.
6/5/9 taunt can only attack if you have 5 or more armor. So, you're gonna have 5 or more armor.
Just like the Ironwood golem. It doesn't need to attack, and like you just said, it probably will be able to, but it doesn't need to. And while he's on board, his 9 health will give you the time and space to build up the 5 armor to allow him to attack, and he'll probably be there for a while. He has 9 health and taunt and 6 mana. Don't even look at his attack. 9 health, and then he has 5 attack.
Yes,
incredibly good card. Yes. This reminds me of Obsidian Destroyer. For some reason, common warrior minions get to just be amazing. They should be legendaries. They're so good.
Then we have the 2/2/2 Dry Whisker Armor Battle Cry. For each enemy minion, gain 2 armor. So this, one of my favorite cards in the game. I talked about, Cult Apothecary with my bounce deck in Warlock. And I really like Warrior because it can do pre-bounce. It can just go straight up with the armor. And this is another one that says... do that. You can gain up to 14 armor with this card. It's very powerful. It doesn't matter what your health is, so it's actually better than Cult Apothecary.
And just like when we talked about the Mage 1/1/2 gaining armor card, I agree. The best way to use this is to hold the line, wait, and get a crap ton of armor. But you, again, don't need to. When you have cards like Bladed Gauntlet, your opponent may have played Alley Cat. You just immediately get 4 armor. Then they trade the Alley Cat into this, and now you have a 4-attack Bladed Gauntlet the next turn. Or you already put the Bladed Gauntlet on at some point that you coin. And you're ready to hit their Bear Shark. And now your Bladed Gauntlet's down to 0 attack, but you got rid of Bear Shark before it could get Houndmastered. That is so important to win that matchup. That, I think this card's amazing. You can play it early, you can play it late. So much armor. No reason not to have this.
Right, and with how cheap it is, you can combo it with, you know, you can do that and then clear. You can do this in a brawl. You can do so much, whereas Cult Apothecary is actually more restrictive than Cult Apothecary. I think is a great card. So what we're going to do for the rest of this, so this is the end of Warrior. Roundup.
Nice job, Warrior.
Yeah.
Lots of weapons and armor.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is there are 5 general legendaries, or neutral legendaries. Yep. We are going to talk about all 5 of those, and we're going to do it kind of briefly, especially Mare on the Fox, because he's already been out and you already know what he is.
You already know about Mare on the Fox.
So it's really 4, I should say. 4 legendaries we're going to discuss. And then if you guys have another card you want us to talk about, throw it in the chat. Yeah. Otherwise, that's it. We're just going to discuss those.
Okay.
4. So
we're not going to talk about Grand Archivist.
We're not going to talk about Grand Archivist at all.
Please contact me somewhere else. And
don't you dare.
We can talk about Grand Archivist all day. All right, but we'll talk about that.
We have the 9/5/5 Master Oakheart Battle Cry. Recruit a 1, a 2, and a 3 attack minion.
So this immediately makes me think of Grand Archivist. Which is that we can talk about this all night because there are so many minions in Hearthstone that have 1, 2, and 3 attack, and this can pull those minions. And it will pull 1 of each of those minions, and it could be an insane amount of value. Now it's 9 mana, so you kind of expect an insane amount of value. Think Ysera, infinite value. But this also could be incredibly solid tempo, and that's not necessarily what you expect from a 9 cost. Think Ysera, infinite value, but it's just a 4/12, 4 attack, not doing much. This could pull your Northshire, your Lyra, and your Radiant Elemental, the full kit of Priest. out into your board, and then you can start slinging 0 and 1 cost spells that are being reduced to 0 and 0 cost spells, and then be receiving from Lyra more castable spells. Now, I'm not saying that that is, something you should go out and do and have be, what you think is a solid, amazing deck, but it's what this card's potential is. So overall, it's pretty weak. It's a 9/5/5.
Yeah, and it's recruit.
But it could be really hilarious and a lot of fun, and it's totally worth playing around with.
Yeah. So
just like King Togwaggle.
Next up, we have 8/5/5 King Togwaggle. Battlecry, swap decks with your opponent. Give them a ransom spell.
That's my deck.
To swap.
You can't have that.
So
surprise.
The interesting thing to me for this is if we wanted to use them as a build around, the idea is we had to make a deck so terrible.
Yeah. No, nothing but Keening Banshees. Nothing but Keening Banshees and copy
and
cards.
This is the ransom card. It's just a 5 cost, and you put everything back. So it means everybody's going to draw one card that doesn't belong to them.
What this card makes me think of, ignoring the ridiculousness that you somehow prevent your opponent from playing the ransom with like counterspell or something, where they are now stuck with your crappy deck, is what you hope. You hope you didn't make them in a really good Exodia mage that's about to have Exodia. But King Togwaggle, it doesn't need to be a build around. You don't need to make a terrible deck that your opponent gets. You can just actually kind of play him for the fact, similar to Curse of Rafaam, you're spending your mana so that your opponent has to spend their mana. And if they don't want to, or they play living mana and they can't, then they are not in a good spot anymore. They need to get their deck back to work with it, to buff these living mana, all these mana roots, and they can't because they have your stupid deck that doesn't buff minions. Just playing an 8/5/5 that forces your opponent to play 5, subtract the 5 off the 8, you got a 3/5/5. So it's like Mukla in that it's risky, but it's a 3/5/5.
All right. So we'll move on from that, and we'll go through. I'm keeping track of all these
Monk.
ones.
I was going to request Kobold Monk.
So we'll move on to the darkness.
Okay.
The darkness.
I got you guys.
For 2020 starts dormant. Oh, come on! Power creep.
I thought I was going to get
and then they cap it.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Battlecry shuffle 3 candles into the enemy deck. When drawn, this awakens. Yeah. This by awakening, that means it becomes active. It's able to attack and whatnot. So it's going to look like Sherazin on the board, and then once all the candles are lit up, it'll slowly.
So
for you.
I think this card is crap.
I wish I had Demon Tag, and then it wouldn't be crap.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, because it doesn't Battlecry its dormancy. So actually, it would still be dormant, and then it wouldn't Battlecry the candles. So if you randomly pull it out of your hand with the Minari, then it would just remain dormant.
Yeah, that's right.
No, this card is kind of ridiculous. First thought is Rogue. It has Battlecry, and it mentions your opponent drawing a lot. So you immediately think Mill Rogue, but more importantly, ignore Mill Rogue. Because if you just play the darkness, and then you start milling your opponent and overdrawing them, and they overdraw a candle, you just failed your darkness, and you wasted 4 mana. Yeah. That was a mistake. But think Rogue in that you can play this multiple times and get 6 and 9 candles in their deck. It's still ridiculous because it's a 4/20/20, and that has to be ridiculous no matter how you look at it. But you could potentially get him to awaken. He might then get turned into a frog, and you didn't get anywhere. But at least you got to laugh and take screenshots of him being summoned.
All right, so speaking of other laughing, friendly, screenshotty things, we have 3/2/2 Zola the Gorgon. Battlecry, choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy of it to your hand.
I don't even know.
That's awesome. I mean, some people don't want to dust the expensive golden version of cards.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it is.
It does mess up Raza.
Stealthy just said mess up Raza
like Ambush did in its day, messing up Reno. It does. I think it would work that way. The candles aren't 3 different candles, right?
No, it's 3 candles.
So.
They're the same candle.
Same candle. So that's cool. And Zola the Gorgon is hilarious, and I don't know why it's a legendary. I don't think that would be a powerful effect. The 3/2/2 get a copy of a card. I don't think that's particularly powerful, but it's not bad. It's weird.
All right, so those are the legendaries. We're going to also talk about this guy as per request. The Carnivorous Cube, 5/4/6, Battlecry, destroy friendly minion, Death Rattle, summon 2 copies
We talked about Death Rattle Hunter already. Now, of course, the specific card we talked that queued off that discussion was a card that actually gains its Death Rattle. So you are coming into a bit of a problem there, which is that he's not going to keep it. He's going to die, he's going to Death Rattle, and then he's going to come back with no Death Rattle because he's a Battlecry. But ignoring that little hiccup and a few others that might be similar, this seems really strong if you have the deck for it. If you've got Devilsaur Egg or other subsequent minions that your opponent, or the 5/2/2 summon an 8/8 if it's their turn, where getting multiple copies of these minions on your board starts to become too aggressive for your opponent to leave, but they don't. They want to leave them. The card text says they want to leave them.
Right.
And then of course the egg activates immediately, gives you the 5/5, then sets you up for 2 more eggs, which you could then use Play Dead or Argus.
You can use Carnivorous Cubes on your Carnivorous Cubes for immediate effect turn 10. That's a whole lot of minions.
Destroy a friendly minion, get 2 Death Rattles. So again, he Battlecries the Death Rattle, so you would only get back 2 cubes from the new cube with no Death Rattle, but the Death Rattle activates, so it still works. It's not fully mechanically. You're not multiplying, but you're certainly getting a lot of value out of your cubes. So Carnivorous Cube overall is an incredibly high value card that is totally silenceable and can totally get ruined, but
it's fun.
It's not immediate,
and it's what Moat Lurker should have been.
But it's fun, and it is kind of what Moat Lurker should have been, and it actually is like Moat Lurker, a very solid arena card because you don't need any synergy with this. It's a 5/4/6, and it summons 2 minions. So you can have a 3/3, and then you kill it, and you get a 4/6, which is a little bit of loss of tempo, and your opponent might be able to jump on you. But if they jump on you by trading minions, you get back 2 3/3s, and you get your tempo back. So,
so we'll move on now to the Kobold Monk. 4/3/6, your hero can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Essentially immune.
Essentially immune. I mean, you can still get beat down by minions, but if you're the kind of control deck that's been attempting to keep the board relatively clean, you can then drop this Kobold Monk and stop your mage or hunter opponent, or in some cases shaman or rogue, from finishing you the way they intended, or certainly priest these days, and a little bit always. Mind Blast will still hit you, but the hero power won't.
Right.
You are safe.
I would say not the most powerful card. I don't think we're going to see it
Not the most powerful,
anymore.
but I would say that it's actually a good thing that he doesn't have taunt. He'd actually be a slightly weaker card if he had taunt, because then you wouldn't be able to put a taunt in front of him. But the way he is, he could be behind a Tar Lord, and then they're never getting to your face with spells. They have to kill him with the spells, because they can't kill him with minions. They can't kill... And then,
though we didn't see pretty much any face damage through spells being added to this expansion,
and so you're alive still, and that's good for you. You want to be alive.
Moving on, we also have the Feral Gibberer. 1/1/1 after this minion attacks a hero, add a copy of it to your hand.
So this is totally ridiculous. It doesn't have charge. It's not going to get charge. So rogue, mage, druid, just kill it. But other heroes just trade their minions and do it if they're a hunter or a shaman or a warrior.
It's hard to get off.
So it's really good against...
But if you do...
Then, but the thing is, if you play against Priest, they can Potion of Madness, and then they're going to get the Gibberer. There's too many Gibberers. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's not good. It's hilarious, and I do want to. I want to see some Gibberers. I'm not going to put them in any decks.
Is that Demon Kebab? I can't quite read that.
Yeah, why is your chat so small?
Because that's just how big it is.
Yep, too small.
Demon Kobold? I don't know. Reading. Yeah, very interesting. There are a lot of sort of...
It's funny. I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of flavor in this set. This is an extremely flavorful
I mean, as a 1
set.
drop, this comes down and attacks. You get another one. But then it probably won't succeed really much at all after that. Kuribo. What do you... You know nothing. And yes, good reference, Stealthy. I agree. There's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! In this. There's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot of D&D. There's a lot of other crap. Well, while we're down here, we might as well mention, you know, that there's a wax candle. I think that's worth mentioning. I'm gonna request a wax candle.
Okay. Wax candle. Here it is. Wax candle.
Yep. Wax elemental.
102 taunt divine shield.
So if you remember the amazingness that was Anoyotron, this is 1 mana, 1 less attack. Anoyotron elemental attack. So that's really fucking good. So put that in your zoo decks.
Yeah, this is super defensive.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they printed this card. It's really, really good. Obviously, it's a 1-drop, so like Firefly, it's going to be in every deck, but still not win you the duel. But it's going to be in a lot of decks. It's really, really strong. I think that's... Do we have any other requests?
I don't know what that is.
That says Unicorn.
Oh, this one. Pretty sure is what he meant.
Yeah, Unicorn.
The Shimmering Courser.
Oh, see, I didn't want to talk about this card because I'm not sure it's worth... I don't think it warrants talking about it.
Then I'll talk about it. 4/3/3 Shimmering Courser, epic minion, beast tag. Only you can target this with spells and hero powers. I think that Druids and Hunters can pick it up, but it's not huge. It's not a necessity. It's not a build around. It's just like, hey, that's kind of cool, and it's a great thing to add to the beast random rotation.
Yeah. I guess I will second that. I'll counter with it's just overtly worse than Bear Shark. Because you don't need to target your beasts with spells and hero powers as a hunter. And as a druid, you don't have Bear Shark, so maybe you'd run this because you don't have Bear Shark.
Right. Plus, who wants to put this in their deck and mess up getting a handful of spells?
Or gibberers.
Or gibberers.
You're gonna...
So, do we have any other final requests as we are finishing up the stream here? Like I said, we're not talking too much, pretty much at all about the new game mode that they're adding, the dungeon run, which I think is going to be freaking amazing. I played it, I believe, 3 times at BlizzCon, and I actually lost one of the times. They had priest, mage, and warrior, I believe, were the option, and I lost as warrior because it was just a hilarious situation where I got matched up essentially against somebody
they didn't have any fun classes.
Could not beat. Yeah, Warlock and Rogue, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So they have some good stuff. There is there are a few cards in here, the Corrosive Ooze or whatever it's called. They do have more weapon destroy since everybody got weapons. I think we'll see a lot of that.
Minions that just have too many stats.
They have minions with too many stats. They have a little bit of power creep.
Some taunt.
For the most part, this is a big expansion, and I think that this is probably one of the healthiest expansions for the game.
Nothing's too strong, nothing's too weak. Everything's kind of just there and playable and fun. Mm-hmm. A lot of fun, a lot of playable cards. So, yeah, I hope to see a lot of these cards and all their interactions and see you in the tavern.
All right. Well, that sounds like a sign-off to me, so I'm going to take that cue and say that that's going to be it for the stream for tonight. I'm going to be chopping this up by class and putting it onto YouTube. And if you want to go back and check anything out, you can do that there. And then throughout the rest of the time, anytime I'm streaming, you can ask me questions. Or if you'd like, there's a link below my Twitch channel that has a way for you to access our Discord channel, and you can throw any questions or whatever conversations you want to start about the game and the expansion. You can do that in the Discord server, so feel free to join that. Like I said, the YouTube video should be up soon. You're just smiling. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Warlock. This has been Lil King RJ, and we will see you guys on the other side of this cinematic video.
Of a vast underground world, and the countless treasures that lie in store for worthy adventurers. You've signed up the best, you're on a great quest to find the mighty mother lode. There's treasure galore, but perils in store and construction that isn't up to code. Trespass with care, there's sure to be something rare. You can grab all the loot that you can handle. Such riches you'll own, but leave one thing alone.
You know they can
And if you steal the light, you then must take flight, eluding each hazard and each trap. It's a chaotic race as the monsters give chase. and all the while you're trying to follow the map. They're gaining on you, your options are few, and you fear that you're never gonna get home. You sought after wealth, where you lose all your health to kobolds and catacombs.